Hello, everyone, and welcome to the 21st episode of the Friday Nightmares podcast. I am one half of your hosting team, coming to you from Waterdown, Ontario, Canada, Heather Powell and
Mr. Smoke Show Crawford coming to you from Swartz Creek, Michigan. Hoping we won't lose power while I record due to some heavy winds going on here today. But we shall see what happens.
You know, if our podcast lived in the States, it could legally drink now.
It's true, it could.
If it was Canadian podcast and it lived in Canada, it'd already been a full-fledged alcoholic.
Yeah, but I'll say it'd already be drunk and like going around and picking up chicks or guys or whatever it wants to pick up.
Whatever. Gender neutral, Scott. Whoever they want to go home with, that is another consenting adult.
That is true.
We are all about whatever you want to do on Friday Nightmares, because Scott and I do us. So I'm drinking today from my Michael Myers mug. My Zoom is so screwed up. So, okay, side note. Scott and I record on Zoom. I downloaded this Halloween background, I don't know, 3 weeks ago, however long Halloween is, and I haven't been able to get rid of it. And it pops in and out, and right now it's made my face look invisible, or like I have some kind of weird, like, Slender Man shit going on.
Yeah, so you look kind of
like... It looks like Slender Man shit. It's actually a better version of the special effects that were used in Slender Man.
Yeah, it's like, because you do look like a demon right now. But what was that about the mug?
Oh, I'm sorry. I was just going on to my rant about how shitty my Zoom is. My mug is my Michael Myers mug. I decided to use it simply because we're recording. But the interesting thing about my horror shit, and I was talking to someone else about this, is I have a lot of Jason stuff. I have Jason socks. I have a Jason hockey sweater. I have a Michael Myers mug. I have a couple of Freddy things. And a lot of people would probably think it's because I love those characters. And I actually don't. I'm like the shittiest horror fan in the entire planet. Like, I like them.
You're just not a fanboy.
But I'm not like, oh my God, Jason's the fucking best. Like, and it's not that I don't like the series. And I just feel like, you know, if I could get a Art the Clown mug, I would probably use it all the time because I feel more attached to that character, whether people agree with that or not. It's just interesting, right? Like, I have all this Michael Myers, Jason, and Freddy stuff because that's just what's available for like clothing and shit.
It's the most easily accessible horror merch to find, especially like Hot Topic and like a lot of the retail stores you can go to. Like when you go out for Halloween, like or during the month of Halloween, you go to Walmart and the horror stuff. It's Chucky, Freddy, Jason, maybe Leatherface.
Yeah.
Michael Myers. It's the icons.
It's all the icon stuff, right? And I feel like people think I'm this big fucking Jason fan because I posted it and people are like, oh yeah, I love Friday the 13th too. And I'm like, oh yeah, me too. And then they like try to go into deep conversations with them. And I'm like, do I look like fucking Scott Crawford or Dave Z to you? I have no.
I can't get into that deep
Rebecca, what's Rebecca's last name?
Reinhardt.
Do I look like either of those motherfuckers? They know what the fuck they're talking about. I'm like, 5 was good because it wasn't really Jason. And it was somebody else.
And you lump me in there, but at the same time, like, I love the Friday the 13th series. That's like my favorite. Like, it was my favorite franchise. Who knows if it is now if I sat down and thought about it. But it's like, yeah, I wouldn't be like having Jason stuff all over the house.
Yeah, but
like,
you could have a conversation about the movies more than I could.
Yeah.
Like, I know basic shit about the movies. Like, I know that, you know, Jason Takes Manhattan was filmed outside of Vancouver. Like, I know that, right? And they had like 5 days or not even in Times Square, one night or whatever they had to film there. But I don't know, like, I remember character names that are super popular, but I don't know in-depth shit, right? So, like, I've watched, though, the Camp Crystal Lake Memories documentary, which, man, like, that documentary, Never Sleep Again, are some of my favorite documentaries ever. But like I feel like you could have a much more detailed conversation. People think I can because I have all the shit and I don't. Like, I'm like, fuck man.
I could have probably more detailed just with the movies because I've watched them so much, but like the like behind the scenes stuff and the name of a lot of the characters, probably not because I'm terrible with remembering.
And Rebecca are the ones that I would.
Yeah, I was gonna say I am not on their level at all.
You dumb. Don't refer anything to Scott. Scott know nothing.
No, nothing.
I
know basic horror trivia.
basic horror trivia. So, on another side note, I said to Scott earlier this week that I was going to give my liver a rest because the last couple of weekends I've been partying hard and taking names, and I lied because we're moving to red zone here where I live. So bars are closing, restaurants are restricted to 10 guests indoors for dining, and then takeout only. Cinemas are going to be closing as well for at least 28 days. So there's a club that I support called Club Absence. They're a big supporter of the community. They host comedy nights. They've been a big supporter of Black Lives Matter and, of course, the LGBTQ community. And they had a drag show with one of my favorite drag queens. So shout out to Karma Camellia, voted best drag queen in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. And I decided to go. And I went. And I ripped it up hard.
Yes, you did.
And yeah, it was, and then I went out for breakfast the next morning, and I went out with my parents last night, and today I'll be going out with friends later on, just to support restaurants where I can. And yes, I do so safely. I wear a mask, I engage in social distancing, I wash my hands, and I understand, to a level of what we have to do. I have my own personal opinions on it, but I'm not going to share that because they're not really relevant to what we're talking about tonight. But I just want to share how much good times I've had and why I'm on my second coffee today because I'm just trying to make it through.
Trying to recharge.
Stay awake, Scott. You're kind of boring, so it's more.
Oh, wow.
I don't want to.
Wow.
So you know what? Flipping through the TV yesterday, Gremlins and Gremlins 2 was on like fucking multiple times yesterday, so I thought of you.
That's amazing.
What have you been saying?
Well, I was going to say first, you looked fucking hot as hell in that outfit on Friday.
Yeah, I should share it to the Friday Nightmares page. People will be like, "Who's that stripper?" Just kidding. It wasn't that. Well, they kind of walk the line, but that's another thing. But thank you.
You're welcome. But yeah, this weekend, what did I end up doing? I don't even remember what I ended up doing Friday. I think I just chilled at home. Then Saturday did my typical card night with my buddies playing Magic the Gathering.
Where you're training to be pro.
Yep, training to be pro by myself.
Bitches.
Before that, though, I went back to the theater to support them because, like you, it hasn't happened yet, but I'm about 99% sure we will be shutting down a lot of stuff this week in Michigan.
What are your numbers at right now for Michigan?
For the daily, the last time I looked was, I think, Friday, and we were at like 6,500 for the day.
See, that's what we're afraid we're going to get to. The province of Ontario has been averaging between 1,000 and about 1,300. We have the same population base as Michigan and the same landmass, and they're locking us down because they think 6,000 is unreasonable and inappropriate and shouldn't even happen. You guys are all like, full fucking steam ahead!
Well, I don't blame your province whatsoever.
You guys are like 6,000. That's Bibbin numbers.
Yeah, because I was gonna say, like, I think, like I was telling you, I think it's just because our governor is probably, after the whole freaking kidnapping attempt and all that crap that happened to her, I think she's just
terrified,
locked down again, because like it's just gonna piss off those people once again, and we're just gonna have protests because those people that are the ones that are causing the shutdown are the ones that'll go out and protest that it's not
with
fair.
No masks on.
Yeah,
because they're really, they're really standing up for what they believe in.
Yeah, they're fucking idiots.
Fucking these, like, what a thing to like latch your cart to. You think 25 years from now you're going to be sitting there with your fucking grandkids and being like, and then I didn't wear a mask, and they'll be like, but they've gone back and proved, grandpa, grandma, whoever, that masks were instrumental in slowing down the spread. But I believed in my rights, and I was
trying to take away my freedom.
And my grandkid's going to be like, sure, grandma, grandpa. It's like how we deal with our grandparents when they say things that are culturally and socially not acceptable nowadays, right? Like, it's just those are going to be those people who feel like this is the fucking thing they need to, like, I don't know, fight for. I just find it so ridiculous that that's even a thing.
Yeah. It's stupid, and if they're the reasons we'll get shut back down, and then they'll be the reason that complaints will happen and protests will happen again. Like, but
well,
it's just
and your Thanksgiving's coming up, the fake one, the fake Thanksgiving.
Fake Thanksgiving.
Well, the real one's in October.
Oh,
I don't know why you guys have a holiday like less than 30 days before Christmas.
Who knows? Well, Wait a minute. You guys have one less than 30 days before Halloween with your Thanksgiving.
Not the same thing. You mean
it's totally the same.
You mean Thanksgiving and Halloween you're going to put in the same category of holidays, huh?
No.
Because look, God, Scott, I wish you would talk about horror all the time.
It's my life, Heather.
I hear that's all you think about.
It's in my blood. It's in my veins. I ooze horror.
So, like, at your job, they're like, so Scott, where's these account payable? Did you like, Pinhead has them? Did you know that in Hellraiser, 1987?
Stop impeding on my rights to love horror.
That's going to be our new protest. Stop releasing shitty horror films. Stop complaining about remakes. Let's see, what else can we complain about? That'd be great. Little protests.
But since the last time we recorded, I do have to say, congratulations to my country for fucking doing what was right and electing a much better president.
Yes, and I get how we will have people that will listen to this going, well, he has issues. Okay, guys, you're in a social health crisis, so you need somebody that at least believes COVID's a real thing. So, that's good. I do believe that Joe Biden believes that COVID exists, so that's great.
Yeah, well, he's already created a team of scientists and doctors to
whoa. Scientists?
Yeah. Well, it's not it's not the owner of My Pillow that is on the pandemic team right now, so that's it's kind of a tough thing to decide between. But at least we got a respectable team that will actually and a president that will listen to facts
and scientific evidence.
What?
You know what though? I'm gonna miss Donald Trump's tweets. His tweets are so entertaining to read.
Oh, he will never go away.
He'll never keep tweeting. They're fucking hilarious. Like, it's funnier than shit I've ever read.
Did you watch any or read any of them while the whole election was going on? He was throwing a freaking tantrum. Oh my god, it was hilarious.
I did not. I took a break during that time from the chaos. And everyone knows my political views. I think you just need to listen to Scott and I know where we stand on most issues. Yeah. And I'm never going to apologize for it because I think it's right. But I do enjoy the entertainment factor of the shit he used to tweet. It was funny. Shit was fucking funny. It's like we had this mayor, probably a lot of people know him, Rob Ford. He's passed away, but he got elected to be mayor of Toronto. Now, I wouldn't have voted for him, but he ran on a platform and he followed through with what he said he was going to do. For example, he was like, I'm going to cut funding to some libraries. And then he cut funding and people got mad. And I was like, well, he said he's going to cut funding.
Yeah, he said he was going to do it.
But anyway, he got accused of having an affair on his wife. And this was the funniest fucking interview. So caution, there is some derogatory language that I'm going to be using when I quote him. So this reporter's like, oh, did you cheat on your wife? And he's like, I don't know what you're talking about. I got more than enough pussy to eat at home.
Wow. I do remember that, but it still just cracks me up. And
he became so famous that I think he went on Jimmy Kimmel. I think it was Jimmy Kimmel.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he got invited on to Jimmy Kimmel. And he was just a fucking oh my God. So Donald Trump beats him. He was funny, but Donald Trump's even funnier. It was got more than enough to eat at home. It was just shit like that he used to say. I can't imagine what he'd be like during this pandemic right now. I can't imagine how fucking
it would have
been. it would have just been out of this world. But anyway, yeah. Rest in peace, Rob Ford. He did pass away a couple years ago of cancer. But fuck, he was funny. He was funny. Mind you, he was just a mayor, so you didn't really have to worry about him running one of the most powerful countries in the world. So
yeah,
that's comical at that point, right?
Why we got to this point in the first place is still beyond me. But you know what? America learned its lesson.
Well, we could have a political conversation, and maybe one day if we go on someone else's podcast, I have some very good theories of why you guys got to this point.
I'm sure I do too.
And Brandon Orlick said something really nice about me actually on Exploding Heads, and I just want to thank him. He mentioned how much I know about American politics and how knowledgeable I am, and that was really nice of him to say, more than most Americans. And I thought that was really nice of him to say, and yeah, so thanks, Brandon. I know you don't listen, but thanks.
Yeah, I was like, yeah, you do. You when I talk to other people, I'm just like, she may be from Canada, but she could outschool any of us on politics. Like,
Well,
she knows our system. You know our country system very fucking well.
Well, and you know what? It doesn't take much, right? You have to have an interest in it. And we're each other's biggest trade partners and tourism partners and other things too, right? So it's, our countries really are depending on each other to kind of get all this shit together and borders to eventually open, and vaccines to be shared. And, let's hope for good things. 2021, let's hope for a new beginning.
Yeah.
And, an opportunity for more health and prosperity and more horror movies.
Yes, exactly. And speaking of horror movies, I guess we could probably just jump right into what we've been watching with our 2020 watches.
Absolutely. I look so serious with this Michael Myers mug. Like, this is like so fucking vomity horror podcasting shit, isn't it? Like, look at me with my Michael Myers mug as I'm talking about horror movies.
And I'm wearing my Texas Chainsaw Massacre shirt, so talking about basic bitch horror.
Stop talking about horror, Scott. That's all you talk about. Don't you know it's almost Christmas time?
I know Christmas and horror just go so well.
Well,
together,
there's a couple though. And we'll talk about them. Some older films I watched that were actually not bad.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. So we'll get into. You start with the first one because we've both seen it.
All right. So and I think we've both seen it since we last recorded too, which is kind of nice.
We sure have.
So yes, yesterday afternoon I did my old school go to the matinee of one of my cheaper theaters here in Flint area. Like,
did you cut a hole in the popcorn bucket?
I did, and surprised myself once again. By the time I got to the bottom, I'm like, oh, "Hey!"
Anyway.
Darren, there you go. You got yourself another Photoshop moment.
That's really funny. Yeah, it probably will be. That's pretty funny.
But yeah, I ended up going to the theater. It was $5 to go during the matinee, so can't argue with that. And went and finally seen Come Play, which, after watching this, should have been the first movie I went to the theaters to go see instead of The Empty Man.
Which is really Slender Man, but not Slender Man, but like Slender Man.
But wow, this movie was really well done. It's about an autistic child that is using technology like a cell phone and iPads and whatnot, and he uses them to like keep himself occupied, helps him
to communicate as well.
Yeah.
So he's non-verbal autistic.
Yeah.
Yeah,
he's like still learning to speak and everything like that. But then there's just this supernatural entity that is part of this cell phone technology world.
Mm-hmm.
And I won't go into any further details because like the story behind it's kind of cool, but it builds up a new, like, what I would call like a horror movie urban legend with this monster.
So, cool fact, that movie, The House, was filmed near my friend's place in Hamilton.
Really?
Yeah. That's neighborhood.
Awesome.
Yeah. So that was really cool. There's one scene that is actually filmed right down the street from my friend's place in an abandoned area. I recognized it. Some of it was filmed in Oshawa, and some of it was filmed in, where are you from again? Montrose, West Montrose.
Really?
Yeah.
I'll have to look into that because I'm wondering if it's the same Montrose I grew up in, because Montrose is very small. That would have been a big thing.
I wasn't sure if it was where you were or not. I just saw Montrose and I just assumed Michigan. Like, I don't know why they would go. I don't think it was Ontario. And there's a West Ontario Montrose, which could be. But yeah, it was really good film. The young man in it is, man, that kid is going to go somewhere in acting.
Yeah, that child actor was incredible.
When you can convey emotion without saying a word as an actor, that young of age, it's fucking breathtaking. Some interesting parenting choices that were made by the mother at points, and some really like funny parts with like where the kid's trying to warn people to not do things and they're just like completely ignoring.
Yeah, and I was saying like even the interactions with his father, like his like the storyline about how his dad's like just hey, I'm the cool parent. And just like some of the stuff there is kind of funny, but at the same time, it's true. I've seen that in relationships. But yeah, I thought this was like a genuinely good horror film for this year. And really dives into the use of technology really well, which, fits with our episode of doing social media found footage.
Yeah, I thought Come Play was awesome. And I'm really glad that I hope more people go see it, honestly, because I think a lot of people are going to skip over it, but it's actually a really good movie.
Yeah, I'm wondering what its numbers were for like the budget like that it made in the box office because yeah, when I went and seen it on on Saturday, I was once again the only person in the theater, but that's also because it was during the middle of the day on a Saturday, a horror film, and it has been out for what 3-4 weeks now. So like
Yeah, at least that.
it's on its like last leg. So I didn't expect many people, but I at least expected a few more in the theater. But yeah, I'm hoping it did well because I want the theaters to do well, like and try to make as much money as they can right now.
Mm-hmm.
And I want these movies to be able to make some money as well.
Absolutely, for sure. Yeah, no, good film. Glad I went out to see it. Probably one of the better theater watches that I've seen so far since
Yeah,
we've been
same
back
here.
in business. All right, so the next one is Spell 2020. Now, my understanding is this was a theatrical release in the United States. We didn't get it up here, but some states got it.
Yeah, apparently the Trillium Theater that you and I went to for Gretel and Hansel started showing it this weekend.
That's awesome. I'm really happy to hear that. Spell, I really enjoyed it. I think if you can go to the theaters to see it, it is worth it. Very solid, good film. Very, very well acted. Great characters that are in it. You really get behind the family that's in it. Morris Chestnut produced it. That's really cool. He's a pretty well known African American actor. I didn't know he produced it as well. That's really cool.
I didn't know that.
Threw money into it. That's awesome. Yeah, I thought it was really good. What were your thoughts on it?
Yeah, I really, really, really enjoyed this one. This one is I gave a pretty high rating because, like you said, the acting was all really well done. The characters were all interesting. The plot is kind of a mix of a few different things that we've seen before, but they added in like the a bit of the old school voodoo.
Yes.
Which I kind of enjoyed that as well. And yeah, all around this was a great story, very good movie. And yeah, if anyone that's listening can go and see it in the theater, do so. This is a high recommended.
Well-known African American actors. Well, Loretta Devine, which is well known from Boston Public and various of other films. John Beasley, also well known. Excellent actors, like excellent. Yeah, I really did enjoy it. I definitely think it's worth a watch.
Yep, and yeah, if you can do it in theaters, please do.
And that seems to be the only where that is highlighted a plane. Obviously, I'm sure you can find it through other means, but currently it is available through theaters.
Yep, and definitely recommend it.
Absolutely, yeah.
The next movie that we both seen is The Swerve from 2020. Now, this one is a bit more on the border of fringe horror.
Absolutely, yeah.
But it's pretty much just about a woman, like just kind of unfortunately watching this woman just mentally deteriorate from all the stress and everything that's happening in this relationship of hers. But man, some very uncomfortable scenes, like some very emotional scenes. The lead actress, I'm not sure what her name is, but she did freaking incredible.
Skype.
Okay, Skype. She was amazing. Like, I felt so bad for her character and everything that she was going through. And yeah, this is one of those films that it's very heavy.
Yes, absolutely. And I think one day I would love to be on a podcast where we debate definitions of horror, because I think that when anyone tells me something's not horror and then they tell me that a very slow movie that doesn't have a lot happening in it but someone kills themselves and that's considered horror, yeah, I don't buy that.
Yeah,
I think that this is real life horror.
Yep.
I don't think it is an exaggerated horror. I think this is something that could very well happen and may have, much like Swallow. Yep. And I kind of put those in the two categories. Now, if that's not the kind of movies you prefer, that is fine. But this movie very much plays on the horror of emotions, of the betrayal, choices we make, and how those can have devastating consequences.
Yeah, 100% agree with you, because this is like, it's one of those films that makes you uncomfortable. And if it makes you uncomfortable, that's going to be fitting perfectly in the horror realm because it is working on fears.
And there's certain movies that you watch and you go, I could see that happening.
Yeah.
Like this is probably something that could feasibly happen. Like Friday the 13th with Jason coming back 18 billion times is probably not going to happen.
Really?
Even Us, obviously that's not going to happen. But there's certain other movies that are out there. Midsommar is an example of something that could happen.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of violence in that film. Yes, they jump off the rock, and yes, there's some stuff at the end, but it's mostly character development throughout that film.
Yep, exactly.
So I think that when I see a movie like this, and I see how the characters interact, the struggles that are happening, I consider this very much horror. And I really don't fucking care what anyone else thinks, to be quite honest. I just think that it falls into a realm that this is real life horror. What could real life happen? And that's how I interpret it. It's available on Google Play, Vudu, Microsoft Store, and YouTube, and I think it's definitely worth a rental.
Yeah, absolutely. I know a few other people that have watched it and really loved it as well.
But it's definitely a slow burn. Like when we say slow burn, there's a lot of character development. You're not gonna if you like movies that take their time to get going and build up, then you'll enjoy this film. If that's not your jam, then you're probably not gonna like this film, and that's fine.
Yeah, I'll say because this is kind of a character study.
Absolutely. It's a good way to talk about it, actually.
Yeah. And yeah, the next one you and I both watched. We watched this one together last Sunday.
We sure did.
And that is Kindred from 2020. This one I really enjoyed, like the acting and all that, but this is a very, very slow burn.
Yes, very much so.
This is probably one of the slower horror films I've seen this year. And once again, this is kind of on that fringe horror. Because this could kind of, I guess you could say, fall in the category of thriller. But I still consider it horror with everything that's going on.
One of the things that I really enjoyed about this movie was the performance from Fiona Shaw.
Yes.
And if you know who, Fiona Shaw has been in multiple Harry Potter movies. She's also been in The Tree of Life, Emily Holmes. She was in Fracture. She was in Dorian Gray, and a really great adaptation, Lizzie, as well as a bunch of other English movies. And a phenomenal actress. I really enjoy her, and I think she is the highlight for me in this film.
Yeah, she played her character like so realistically and just amazing. She
outacted everybody.
Yes, absolutely.
Outacted everyone. And the other characters were fine. The story was fine. It was average. I wouldn't say that it's a must watch for 2020.
No.
It kind of reminded me of what brought it up for me is Fiona Shaw. I think if she hadn't been in it, I would have put it on a much lower rating, but her performance made me enjoy it quite a bit. I don't even know if I would recommend it overly. Like if you're just looking to watch some Fiona Shaw, you're a fan of her, then yeah, I would say watch it.
Yeah, I am right there with you. Like, I'm not bad. I'm not upset that I watched it because I like these stories and it gave us something to talk about while we were watching it. But for most people, this would be either way too slow with not enough happening.
Yeah.
But there are a few people I might recommend it to, but for the most part, I would say it's for the average horror fan, this is not going to be something up your alley.
Absolutely. And you can find it, though, on Apple iTunes, Google, Vudu, Amazon, and YouTube. So the next one is The Dark and the Wicked, 2020.
Oh, man.
I'm actually not as high in this as Scott is, so I'm going to let Scott talk about it more before I get into it.
All right. So got to give a shout out to Mark Nato because he made a post about this saying this is his surprise of the year that jumped up to his number one spot. So I was like, okay, I got to see this. If the man that has watched 620 horror films says that he just watched this and it jumped to his number one spot, I got to see this movie. We may not always agree, but I always respect his opinion. And even if I'm not a fan of the movie, I can see why others would be. But wow, this movie was awesome. It's about a brother and sister that go back to their parents' house because their father ends up, I believe, going comatose. And so the mother is just left there taking care of herself and him, and like she's struggling. So they brother and sister come back and help. And then just this weird dark presence is around this house and starts affecting them all in different ways. And this is a dark film. Like, it's creepy, it's unsettling, especially if you are spiritual in any way. This may affect you even more. But yeah, the performances I thought all around were really well done. The score was unsettling. Just everything about this just worked as a just very good horror film.
Yeah, I agree with what Scott's saying. I think the acting was very good. It just I definitely am not in the camp where I love it, but I don't dislike it. I really am mediocre on this. I can see why people would love it, and I don't really have a good reason as to why I don't. I just feel like the plot was somewhat predictable at times. I didn't feel surprised by anything that happened, except for one scene.
Yeah.
That did surprise me. That was very well done. And I do enjoy, I would call this probably Christian horror.
Yeah.
You know, I do believe in God, and I do believe in the devil, and I believe in that stuff. So definitely I bought into it. I didn't love the ending. I thought it was kind of a cop-out.
Yeah, that's the only downside I had, was the ending just kind of came out of nowhere and just, it was done. I'm going,
yeah.
Yeah, but that part.
The higher quality films that have been made this year. And definitely I could see this gracing people's number ones, number twos, number threes on their top tens. And I would never fault them for it. I would never criticize someone for that. It just didn't hit all the marks for me, but I definitely strongly recommend checking it out.
Yep, this is one that I want to rewatch, because right now it'll be for sure in my top 20. But if I rewatch it and be able to give it my full attention even more, it'll probably be in my top 10 by the end of the year.
Awesome. It's available on Google Play, Vudu, Microsoft Store, and YouTube, and definitely worth whatever rental price you pay for it.
Yep, 100% agree. Like, this one is a must-see if you're trying to watch all the good 2020 horror films.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I guess you got the next one then.
Yeah, the next one is Triggered from 2020. And this one is about a group of friends that go into the woods, just kind of, I guess it was kind of like a reunion style thing that they were doing. And they end up getting knocked out and wake up with these, what almost look like laser tag chest pieces attached to their bodies that they cannot remove. And it's basically a ticking time bomb. And they find out that as the clock is ticking, the only way to survive or last longer is to kill someone else and take their time. And it pretty much pits all of the friends against each other, and like you get your typical pretty much finding the rifts between friendships and how far someone will go. Now, the only thing, like, I thought this was a fun film, like kind of reminded me of a playful version of Saw. The only thing that I just couldn't help and just laugh at was the ridiculous setup of exposition between all of the characters in the very beginning, going, "Oh, you were a drug dealer? Yeah, I was a drug dealer for so many years, blah, blah, blah. Oh, did you know this person cheated on this person?" Like, it literally was just like, here, let's lay the groundwork for all the drama we will have in this movie before you even like get to know the characters.
See, I disagree. I thought that was smart. And I think it showed millennials. It was making fun of millennials while at the same time millennials making fun of themselves.
I could see that. Yeah, I just felt like it was almost
like, look at the name, Triggered.
Yeah.
Right. This is funny. Scott and I are really disagreeing. This will be the end of Friday Nightmares. I think that beginning was not. I think that's how young people talk. I disagree with you 110%. I think that's what people do. I think young people would sit around like that and gossip.
Well, no, it seemed like the part that I think it was, I'm trying to remember the exact part, but it was like something about that drug dealer part that it just threw me off, because I was like, but you guys are friends, but you didn't know he was a drug dealer?
In all fairness, I have friends that I didn't know were drug dealers.
Oh, yeah, I knew
I
all
was
my friends
dating a
were.
guy, and I found out he was a drug dealer, and I broke up with him when I was in high school.
Oh, all right. Well, then never mind. So I did not realize that because I knew like every one of my friends that were.
That's because you bought all the drugs from them.
Well, I mean, I can't really. Yeah, I guess I can't.
Not anymore though. Scott lives a clean lifestyle now. He drinks whey protein.
Yeah.
He goes to bed at 8:00 every night. He drinks green tea in the mornings just to revive himself and does an hour of yoga before he goes to work every day.
Boy, I wish I had that much time.
Just to get in his zen, just to like be one.
I'm doing tantric sex
like
too.
He says he drinks, he doesn't. He's drinking water. When he's like, oh yeah, guys, I did shots last night. It's shots of protein.
Yeah, that protein gives you that fucking buzz hardcore.
Right, and he's all like, magical, I feel so good.
I will say the whey protein hangovers are the fucking worst.
Yeah, all that whey protein. So, but yeah, no, but it's fine if it annoyed you. It just didn't annoy me. I thought the movie for a low budget film was really fucking funny. I thought they did a good job of using the term triggered in several different ways, and how the fights that would happen between friends was all making fun of like the triggered mentality. I thought it was clever. I really did. I think though this will be a divided film. I think if you get annoyed by characters easily and really don't enjoy films with young people being stupid young people, then you're not going to like this. Like this is taking teenage conversation and mentality and just supersizing it.
Yeah, and I'll say like, and I won't even say that they won't like it because, yeah, like I said, those characters annoyed me a bit, but I still found this fun and entertaining. It was an easy watch, wasn't anything super heavy, and had some pretty good gore moments as well. But yeah, I say it's worth a rental. It's still fun.
Well, let's talk about where you can get it if you decide that you want to see it and see how bad Scott's taste is and how good mine is.
Wow.
It's on Google Play. I'm just kidding. And Vudu and YouTube. You know what? It looks like my drama club did this. Maybe that's what this is about.
Yeah, I'll say there we go.
Club from Waterdown, Ontario did this movie, and I'm all like, it's fine. And you're all like, we're having warring drama clubs. We're trying to support all local drama clubs.
Michigan Drama Club versus Ontario.
No. Schwartz Creek versus Waterdown. We'll choose the most smallest communities we can that no one fucking knows about as our drama clubs. We can't even make it the province-wide or statewide. That would be too well known. No, they got to be even lower than that. We actually do have a drama club in Waterdown, Ontario. We have a little theater, and they put on plays. Like, I'm not kidding. That's a thing. But yeah, they're all old people, so I don't think any of them were in this movie. But yeah.
Or were they?
So you got did you see this one or did?
Nope. The next two I have not seen.
Oh, wow. I guess you're slowing. How many new watches are you up to now?
I am at 190.
Yeah, you're way ahead of me, but that's because I'm choosing quality, Dave C, over quantity.
And actually, you're not even that far behind me. I think you're only like 5 or 6.
Am I?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't really care anymore. So I.
It's because I'm winning. That's why you don't care.
Well, not just that. You're also watching movies I don't have access to.
Right, which
there's some I don't. I can't watch, so it doesn't really matter if you put them on your list or not. If they're not accessible to both of us, then that's not really a fair race.
Right. That's why I was
American of you. Right. American thing.
Got to find a way to cheat a little bit, right?
I know, right? Are you going to tell me that the votes don't really count as well?
Stop the count,
Did you know
Heather.
that if you stop counting, Scott, in 2020s, you won't watch anymore? And I'll win?
That's how you... Okay, so what you're saying is, if I stop the count of my 2020 movies now, but I continue watching them.
Exactly.
Oh.
Yes.
I don't like this because I want to win.
I know. All I do is win no matter what. They Live Inside Us is a Halloween-based film. It's about a writer that relocates to this haunted house to inspire him for writing, and he creates this character, and in turn this character comes to life. It is fine. I don't think it's anything that anyone needs to rush out and watch. Obviously a low budget film. I will say their special effects were done really well. They had some creative scenes in it, but it wasn't the best movie I've ever seen before. I don't even know if it's worth a rental. Like, it's on Redbox, or at Redbox, iTunes, Vudu, Microsoft Store. I don't know. Like, there's other quality 2020 movies out there. I will give them credit for trying to do a different concept of being in a haunted house and a writer trying to get inspiration and then shit happening. The young lady that was in it was very good, but not worth it.
That's why I didn't bother with this one yet, because you didn't really sound too high on it.
No, it was fine. I watched it. I saw it. I thought, a writer goes into a haunted house. That sounds really interesting. And he lives there and he tries to write, and obviously the house turns on him. But I was like, nah. Yeah, I don't know, Scott. You have pretty low standards. Even you, I don't know if you would want this one.
Wow, low standards, huh? No, I'm just willing to give movies a chance.
That's right, because they were made by your drama club.
Exactly. But now I will jump in and say there were this week or these last 2 weeks, I've been watching all good to really good 2020 horror films. The few that I stumbled across, I was like, oh, I'll give these a shot. I didn't even finish. I stopped within 10 minutes going, nope, not even worth my time.
Did you put them on your list?
Nope.
Okay.
No, if I don't finish a movie, it will not be on my list.
That's true. If you don't finish something, you can't put it on your list.
Exactly. So what about this next Netflix movie that I need to watch?
You haven't seen this, have you? What is wrong with you?
You told me I need to definitely not watch this while I'm working. This is more of a focus at home type movie.
Yeah, you definitely have to focus it at home. It's a Netflix film, and I don't want to say too much about it because it's very, very good. Basic concept is about a refugee couple from Sudan who is dealing with horrors from their escape. A lot of traditional faith in this one that pulls from those horrors. Some phenomenal fucking cinematography. Very, very good acting. Very heavy topic. I think if anyone watched this movie and you have a real appreciation for what refugees go through when they go to a new country. It is hard. We don't know that, you and I. We've born and privileged, and yes, by the way, if you're white living in North America and you have a roof over your head and food on the table and money coming in, you're doing very well, whether you think so or not. And, these people are leaving a war-torn country with nothing but the clothes on their back and maybe a couple of things, and at the mercy of another country that they come to. So it is extremely well done. The acting is very well done. It's a 93-minute film. Does not feel like a 93-minute film. Totally recommend it. Free watch on Netflix. Has a pretty high rating on Letterboxd, which it deserves, and it will probably grace some people's top 10.
Nice. This is one that I might try watching tonight then.
Yeah, it's worth it. It's a good film. I really recommend it.
Okay, sweet. The next one, I will have you take it because maybe I was wrong. I don't remember shit from this movie.
I don't think you actually watch movies. I think you just read the Wikipedia and hope for the. That's what I do. Just kidding. Yeah, this one is a 2016 movie that finally got picked up, which in 2020. So it jumped around the film festival circuit, and then finally someone's like, "Okay, fine, we'll distribute you," and it finally got released. It is definitely a low budget film. This definitely looks like people that did just a step above a student film. I really enjoyed the dialogue.
Okay, it's actually dawning on me I remember it now. Okay.
Yes, the dialogue was very good and accurate. The decisions that people made, I felt, was very good and accurate. I think people would probably react the way they reacted. For example, at one point, people find a dead body and their first thought is to panic and try to cover it up. I think if I was, and that's because they had been doing a copious amount of narcotics, so the various drugs, they had a lot of drugs on them. They kind of broken into this house. I would probably do the same thing. In a high panic state, you find a body, you're in someone's house that you kind of broke into. Yeah, you're probably going to fucking panic. And you're not going to want to call the cops as your first thing. It's probably realistic to what people do.
And yeah, it's very realistic. If I was in this situation, because now that the movie's coming back to me, I don't know why I just had this weird fog. I'm like, holy crap, I don't remember this movie at all. But yeah, now it's all coming back to me. You have your unlikable characters and your likable characters, but you were right. The dialogue is great.
Yep.
The one thing though, if I was one of these people, especially that had a car, I would have been like, all right, you guys do what you got to do. I'm going to leave this fucking house. I am going to go home. I am going to call the cops, not say that I was there, but I'm going to go call the cops and go, hey, I haven't heard from my friend in quite some time. I'm kind of concerned. He's not answering his door. He's not doing any of this.
Now, the only problem with that is they're going to find your fingerprints in the house when they do a sweep.
Very good point.
Because he was murdered.
Very good point.
Like, I don't know if and that's why they freak out the way they do. You know what they never say it, but he was murdered. It wasn't like he was just like on the ground from an aneurysm or something like that.
Right.
Like, it was murder. So the cops are going to do a finger sweep and do fingerprint sweep and look for evidence, and they're going to figure out you were there. So then you've lied. So you would be in more trouble. You would actually be better off to call the cops and say, look, we broke into this house. We found this dude here.
Good point.
But they also had a whole bunch of blow on them and everything else under the sun. So that was where I bought into it. But the acting is a little hard to stomach. But I thought the script was actually well written.
Yeah, I was like the dialogue and the drama between everybody and what to do. It all felt realistic.
Right.
And the characters that show up a little bit later and like how they handle that too, that all worked out like the same way.
Yeah, it was, you know what, I think that if you are looking at starting your own filming, like you want to make a film and you want an idea of what you'll be working with, I think this is a great film to look at. Like, I think people fantasize of, oh, I would do a horror movie and what it would look like, but I don't think people actually think of the budget they would have and how difficult it is to create these really extensive movies that we see. I think this is more realistically what it would look like. And yeah, it's available for iTunes, Google, Vudu, YouTube, and Prime Video.
And
so yeah, if you're sorry, go ahead.
And where we watched it, Tubi.
Tubi, that's right, on Tubi. So it is available on Tubi as well. I wonder if it's got taken down from Tubi because it's not listed here anymore, but check it out for Tubi as well. Yeah, I've honestly seen worse low budget films, and I think if you are an aspiring filmmaker and you want to see another way that something's been done, check it out.
Yeah, I'd say it's worth the watch, especially when you can stream it for free.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah. Now these next two are kind of like surprises for me because of the company that did them. But the first one is The Retreat from 2020, and when I say surprise from the company, this is Uncorked Entertainment, and you all have heard us talk about how, like, you know, Uncorked is just kind of like they're good at supporting the indie scene, but nothing is really just like amazing that they release, like it's good or really bad. And I gotta say, I was pretty impressed with this movie, The Retreat. It's about a guy and his friend go out hiking. I think it was in the Alps. I could be wrong on that part, but I know they decided to do this like long hike because this is what the guy wants to do for his bachelor party. He doesn't want to go have this huge party or anything like that. He just wants to do this with his friend and do this like bucket list item. And they end up basically coming across the legend of the Wendigo.
The Wendigo.
Wendigo.
Or also known as Scott Crawford.
Yes. But I was actually pretty impressed with this. I thought the acting in this was really good. It was really well shot, like beautiful, like really good cinematography. The creature design was pretty freaky, and it dived into the Wendigo lore that you and I talked about on our cannibal episode pretty freaking accurately, with the way like it kind of covered all the different myths of the Wendigo in this one movie.
Absolutely. Yeah, it did actually. I was thinking about that when I was watching it and how we had talked about the Wendigo myth and everything that I had covered. I don't think I liked it as much as you did. And yet again, I don't have a good reason why. The acting was good. The special effects were at parts I'm like, this can't be uncorked.
Right. That's exactly how I felt. I'm like, wait a minute.
I was like, really? Is this really a fucking uncorked film? Like, could this uncorked film make someone's top 30 movies this year? Like, could this be a possibility? Yeah, I definitely enjoyed it enough. I thought it was a great little survival horror film with the Wendigo myth. Like, it gets a little confusing. I kind of didn't fully get what was going on at points, but overall, good movie.
Yeah, because it definitely plays with the whole, did this really happen or not?
Yeah, and that confused me.
Yeah, I think I ended up getting it by the end. I would have to rewatch it because I was
Maybe you
watching
can
it at work.
explain it to me offline because I didn't fully get what was going on.
Right. Yeah, I could do that. But
Yeah.
yeah, like I wouldn't say this is like, oh my god, this is amazing. But no, for Uncorked, this is amazing.
For Uncorked, this is like an Academy Award film. Like,
Right.
seriously, like, Uncorked. Good job, Uncorked. You're picking up more than just shit that you usually do. More than
Yeah,
that. What was that stupid movie we couldn't even get through?
Oh, what was that?
Dead Ed or something like
Dead
that?
by Dawn.
Dead by Dawn. Oh my god, what a dreadful piece of shit that was.
Yeah, that was freaking painful.
Fuck. I think we got 10 minutes in. I'm like, I can't do this.
Yeah, like we both just said, let's not.
No, this is too bad. Anyway, this bad boy is available on Vudu.
Yes, and yep, definitely recommend giving. This is worth a rental, I think.
I think so too. I think it's worth paying for.
And yeah, and the next one, once again, Uncorked, and once again, I was surprised. This is this movie is called The Devil to Pay. I watched a screener of it, but it's the synopsis is after the disappearance of her husband, a struggling farmer is in an isolated Appalachian community, fights to save her son when the cold-hearted matriarch of the oldest family on the mountain demands payment of a debt that could destroy a decades-old truce. And this is one of those that's kind of like fringe horror as well. It could be more considered like a thriller revenge movie. But once again, the performances, especially by the main actress, I'm trying to look up her name right now, Danielle Deadweiler. She, like, the crap that she goes through is so believable. Like the way her performances. The actress Catherine Dyer also did an amazing job as like the matriarch of this family. But yeah, it's like this kind of like I'm not even sure what the timeline is like when this happened, but it's basically it kind of feels like a period piece in a way. Like feels almost like it's like in the like kind of like in the 60s or so, and it's kind of like down south.
Okay.
But it just has this really cool visual styling, and the music is really good. Like gonna go on a video game nerd thing for a second, but if you played the video game Red Dead Redemption 2, like the old West style game, the music in this reminded me a lot of that.
Coolio.
And I was like, I want the soundtrack to this movie. Like this is just really good music.
Luckily, we live in the digital age, Scott, and you can get that soundtrack.
Exactly. But I think this is definitely worth a rental. It's worth a watch. I'm not exactly sure where it is available right now.
Oh, I did look it up. It is available on Google, Vudu, YouTube, and Microsoft Store.
Okay, nice. But yeah, definitely worth a watch. I recommend it. It's very, very entertaining and very well acted.
Which is always shocking for yet again when you see Uncorked. You're like, what? Uncorked? What are you doing?
Yeah, we'll be talking about one of their lower tier movies in the older films I've watched.
Oh, will we? Oh, I'm excited for that. I wonder which one that is. All right, so I guess we'll move into our older films. I finally watched Dark Water, and Jennifer Connelly was in this one. She hasn't been in much for a while. This is back in 2005.
Yeah, I think this and that Hulk movie that came out, the very first Hulk movie, I think were the only things I've seen her in like lately.
Well, Beautiful Mind.
Yeah, I think that was before both of those.
Okay. So yeah, she's in this horror film, and I'm probably sure this is based off of Japanese.
Yeah, it's a Japanese. It's a remake of a Japanese horror film called Dark Water,
which is probably scarier and better. But John C. Reilly's in it. He's great. I actually
really
enjoyed him. Yeah, he's in it.
John C. Reilly is such an amazing actor.
He really is, and he's very diverse of the roles that he can play. Like he's really, really, really good. Yeah, I enjoyed it enough for what it is. Good little ghost story. Kind of a feel-good ending at the end. But you got to kind of forgive plot holes. You got to kind of forgive all that other kind of jazz. probably the Asian version's better. But for an Americanized version, for a simple watch to turn off your brain from 15 years ago, it was fine. But nothing else really to write home about, to be honest with you.
It's kind of what I had a feeling when I seen the trailer a long time ago. Just like,
It's fine. The Red Wood Massacre.
Okay, I'm curious about this one.
Yeah, so a lot of people that like slashers and kind of campy slashers like this one.
Really?
I found it on Tubi. I know Nudie from NFW really likes this film, and sometimes his taste in movies are just different than mine.
Right.
I thought it was fun. It's definitely a lower budget slasher film, and it's pretty gory. Like, it's pretty intense with some of the gore scenes and some of the kill scenes in it. Very simplistic plot. Characters that you are pretty much invested in. Like, you do care about what happens to them. And it really does kick off right away. It only is an 82-minute runtime, so it's smooth. It doesn't take a lot of time to get through. And it's on Tubi, so it's a free watch on Tubi or Amazon Prime if you have Amazon Prime. Honestly, if you're just looking for a dumb little slasher to throw on, it's fine. I don't know if I'll watch the second one. Maybe if I see it on Tubi as well, yeah, I'll watch it.
Well, I'll say I think that's on our good friend's Plex, actually.
Is it? Okay, maybe I'll watch it as well. Yeah.
Yeah, because I almost gave both these, because I think both of them are on there, and I almost watched them because I was like, I've never heard anything about these, and like there's two of them, so I made a sequel, so that must not be that bad.
I think you would enjoy it enough. Like, I think it's a fun enough movie to sit through and watch. It's yet again nothing super special. You're not gonna walk out and go, oh man, what a fucking solid slasher. But it's not a shitty film. Like, it's just there. Like, I'm sorry, when you're walking into a slasher, your expectations should be low.
Yeah, right.
Right? Like, there should be, if there's some gore, that's great. Like, would I put this at the top of it? No. Was it fucking a piece of shit? No. It was just kind of there.
All right, yeah, maybe I'll give that a watch with this week.
Yes, make sure you do.
I will.
Better Watch Out, 2016. So to get into the Christmas spirit, I decided that I would watch some Christmas horror movies. Particularly Christmas movies horror movies that I hadn't seen before. So Better Watch Out is, I think it's fairly well known in the community. It's basically about a young man and his babysitter, and they get stalked, and there's a plot twist in it. I won't go into great detail because that would be some spoilers. It was fine. I really felt like the second act dragged out a lot. Myself. And I felt like the character arc was just a little too dramatic. A little too from zero to balls to the walls, a little too much.
I can see that.
But I can see why people love it. I enjoyed it. Will I watch it every Christmas? Probably not. But did I think that it was a cool concept and something different? Absolutely.
Yeah, did you see that twist coming?
I was suspicious about it at a certain point.
Okay.
And I was kind of waiting for it to get darker. And I found that when it did get darker, it was too much of a jump.
Yep, I can see that. Like, because I've seen this about 3 times now. Like,
yeah,
I have fun with this movie.
Mm-hmm.
Like, because it does feel like a Christmas horror film. Like has that Christmas feeling to it.
Definitely has and maybe we could do that when we talk about our Christmas films.
That's kind of what I was thinking.
This definitely is a Christmas film. And we can go into more spoilers and stuff then. Yeah,
and then I was going to say, and then I do like the acting from the kids in this movie.
Yeah, everyone's good. Their acting's good. But I just felt like it went from someone that you didn't think was a narcissist or a psychopath to, I'm a fucking psychopath. Like, it just went too quickly for my liking.
Yeah, I completely agree with that.
But I think it did capture Christmas well.
Yeah. Yeah, like I say, it's one of I watch every year so far, but that's just because I was just like, oh, it's right there on Shudder. Screw it, I'll throw it on because I had fun with it. But I don't know if it'd be like something I'd have to watch every year.
Absolutely. And I took it off, and I'm going to just mention it briefly. Campfire Tales, 1997. I watched that a while ago. So the comical thing I found in this, and I said it to Scott afterwards, is at the end, okay, spoiler for 1997 Campfire Tales. They're dead. And it was one long fucking drinking and driving commercial. It was exactly like the drinking and driving commercials from the 90s of like, so synopsis of this movie very quickly, it's a whole bunch of short stories of these people that are telling them, these 4 teenagers, and then you realize, so at first you think their car just broke down and they're telling these scary stories around a campfire, like think, are you afraid of the dark mentality? And you realize at the end of it when the police show up that they're actually dead, and the one kid was drinking, and they say that you can hear the paramedics being like, we found alcohol in his system, and he's the one that runs down, and I guess he's still alive. He's kind of like, the paramedics are trying to save him, and he runs up the hill and he sees his 3 dead friends holding hands, and he realizes they've been dead the entire time, and they've been telling these stories, and like it was so. And then I sent Scott a drinking and driving commercial that I found,
yes,
and I'm going to share it to our page. And it's basically these kids leaving a party and then being like, I don't know if Billy can drive. Oh, Billy's had too much to drink. And he's like, I'm fine, guys. And they get in the car and they all turn into fucking skeletons. It was that kind of cheese sheet. Basically, Campfire Tales 1997 is a 90s drinking and driving commercial. That's what it is. Like, it was just so fuck. When I got to that, I'm like, you gotta be fucking kidding me. Anyway.
I laughed out loud. I'm like, oh my God.
Oh, fuck my life. But anyway, that was side note for Campfire Tales 1997. Fine movie otherwise, just a long drinking and driving commercial. So, Black Christmas 2006, I decided to complete the set. I've seen the 1974 version. I've seen the 2019. Yeah, this one was like, they're all so different.
Yeah.
Like this one, it was like, we're in a sorority house. And there's a den mother that was in the original movie.
Yep.
Adrian Martin was in the original, right?
Mm-hmm.
And there's some killers out. And they used to live in the house. And they're going to die.
And we're going to give you a backstory of how he was abused and this and that.
Oh, and like how his mom raped him and shit. Like it was...
It was dark.
It was dark. And I was kind of like... It was fine. I prefer the original Black Christmas a million times over. Like, I feel really bad for the original Black Christmas. I feel like people keep making it into these pieces of shit when it's actually like, there's few movies I will shit on the remakes for, but these remakes were not that good. Like, they're fine, but I don't know why they had to be called Black Christmas. Like, they could have just been called something else.
I still haven't seen the 2019 version, but I will say the 2006 one at least has some parts of the original story with the killer named Billy and the sorority house and the hiding in the house and the stuff like that.
Yeah, but you know what I will give the remake of Black Christmas is that, or the 2019, is that at least tried to do something very, very different. It was Black Christmas in name, but it wasn't. I think if she had just named it, the director just named it something else, it would have been fine. Yes, it's a very like strong message that's in it, but I think if you hadn't labeled it Black Christmas, you wouldn't have had horror fans shitting all over it, right? Like,
right, exactly.
So
it would have been fine. People would have wouldn't seen it and probably just either liked it or just went and would have never talked about it again.
Yeah. Bottom line is just watch the 1974 version of Black Christmas. Like, this was fine, but it wasn't. Besides super hot chicks in it and like.
Some good gore.
Like, that was about it. Like, otherwise...
I mean, how can you go wrong with some fleshed gingerbread cookies?
Right, or Lacey from... Lacey Chambers from Party of Five.
Yeah, and I forget her name, but she played in Buffy and Eurotrip.
Yeah, she was in there too. Like, and then there was a guy from Goldie Hawn's and Kevin... Kurt Russell's son was in it.
Oh, was he really? I did not realize that was him.
Yeah, it was, you know what I mean? Like, it was a product of 2006. That's really what it was. It was a fucking product of 2006. I feel like we could talk about how certain movies come out and you can be like, yep, son of a bitch, that's a 2006 movie.
Yep, well, because there's always, because every decade always has this like flagship movie that ends up coming out. And then other movies try to copy that formula.
Well, they copy, the formula, the way that characters are developed, how they're dressed, like the weird fucking jokes that happen in it. Anyway, I don't regret watching it, but I definitely will never watch it again.
Yeah, this one I throw on once in a great while when I'm just like, I want
to see some hot chicks.
I want to see some hot chicks in a dumb slasher movie getting sliced and diced, and like it kind of cracks me up because of how cheesy it is. Like I just it's one of those I can just turn my brain off and have.
Well, I like seeing Andrea Martin in it, Canadian actress, very well known, very well liked. But like the over Christmas decorating that they do in that house, like they have fucking lights down all the doorways and like it's over the top. No one does that in their house. Who does? And I grew up in like Snoopy's doghouse. You got to understand, my mom loves fucking Christmas. Christmas basically vomits all over my parents' house every year. So I grew up with like multiple displays in the house, lights going up and down banisters and stairs. Like I grew up with all that shit, and my mom still didn't do that. Like it was just fucking over the top ridiculous.
Oh, it so was.
Like, and that's not even what Christmas is anyway. Like I hate to be like, I mean, people get offended about like Santa Claus and shit. That's stuff we made up about Christmas. Actually what Christmas is, but I digress. Anyway, yeah. So I got my Christmas going,
Yep, I'll wait till after Thanksgiving for me.
Yeah, fake Thanksgiving. It's true. We have real Thanksgiving here in Canada. That's in October. See, this is the problem in America. You guys have Thanksgiving so close to Christmas, so now you have this divide of people that want to set up their Christmas tree before Thanksgiving and after Christmas. Here, we just ask that people wait till after Remembrance Day, which is November 11th.
I mean, if you think about it, though, it makes sense in a way why we have this divide. Because, I mean, 1 month from Halloween is Thanksgiving. 1 month from Thanksgiving is Christmas. It's just kind of like sense. That in between step.
No, it doesn't. No, it makes zero sense. You have a big fucking meal, and then you have another big fucking meal less than 30 days.
Yeah. That's American tradition, Heather. It's something I'm used to.
Like, it's because you want to watch that fucking Blood Rage movie or whatever it's called.
Well, I mean, I probably won't watch it this year because I'm trying to stick mainly to first-time watches and even ignoring my traditions.
Oh, you can keep your traditions. I won't judge you.
I know, but I'm still just trying to do as many first-time watches. Like when it comes to the Christmas movies, though, I don't know if there are any left that I haven't seen. Like besides a lot of newer ones.
You know what I haven't seen that I'm waiting to see? Deadly Night Silent.
Or Silent Night, Deadly Night?
Yeah.
Oh, that movie is so good.
I'm going to watch it in December.
Perfect, because, yeah, that one is good. The sequels, like maybe part 2 if you want to watch part 1 again, because it has like half the movie of part 1 and then 30 minutes of new footage.
I'll probably watch Krampus again this year and definitely Black Christmas 1974.
Yeah, well, yeah, who am I kidding? Of course I'm going to have a tradition. I got to watch Gremlins.
Oh, yeah. Can you imagine if you didn't watch Gremlins?
There wouldn't be a Christmas.
Like, you know what would happen? The entire Gremlins franchise would fall apart because you didn't watch it.
No, the world would end. There would just be no Christmas, and 2020 is just completely ruined even more than it was.
And they'd be like, and then Scott ruined it because he didn't watch Gremlins.
Yep. I'll say it's got to happen.
Speaking of Gremlins, I think it's coming close to our 1 year anniversary of us reaching out to each other on social media. But I'm going to wait till the social media section to talk about how we became friends. Like real friends, not like Facebook friends.
Right,
like
exactly.
Friends on Facebook that do more than like each other's posts.
Yeah. Yeah, because November 21st is the day we started talking.
That's so fucking creepy that you know that.
I remember weird dates. What can I say?
You're so fucking weird. Anyway. You know what else is weird? That I didn't see this movie until this year.
Well, I mean, it's only technically a year old, so it's not that bad.
It's embarrassing. I finally watched Dr. Sleep, and I will be honest, I've been putting it off, even though, like, I remember Venom gave a speech on Fresh Cuts, and he's like, if you didn't go see Dr. Sleep, shame on you. And I'm like, I didn't go see Dr. Sleep, shame on me. And I decided that I would watch it, and fuck, is it good?
Yes.
Fuck, this movie is amazing.
I told you would love this one.
Holy shit, I'm like 2.5 hours. Okay, this is going to be a long motherfucker. And I was like, oh no, this is good. Oh, it's good. It's so good. Like, oh my God. Everyone and their mom has seen it. I'm late to the party on this one. So I just want to say, great movie. I loved it. If you haven't seen it, check it out. Doesn't matter your feelings on The Shining. You will like this movie. Yeah.
Yep. And I will say, Rose the Hat is one of the greatest villains from last year.
Yeah, she's pretty creepy.
Yeah, I just loved everything about how she did everything. It just amazing.
Yes,
Great,
very,
great
very
movie.
well done. Absolutely.
I need to watch the director's cut at some point because I only watched the theatrical cut. And I think you watched the director's cut, if I remember. Like, if
I guess so. I don't know. I just watched what was ever on our good friends Plex.
Yeah, but yeah, I am so happy you watched it and that you loved it. I had a feeling you would, like, just because I was like, I know your taste, and I'm going, I think Heather would like this one.
I did. It was really good.
Yeah, that's awesome.
The young lady in it, is she the same girl that plays in The Girl with All the Gifts?
That is a good question. I don't know.
Because I've been meaning to watch that movie as well, and I just haven't got along to it. Hold on, let me check out here. Dr. Sleep. Let me look at her.
Yeah, because I do recommend.
Abba? No, she was in Dr. Sleep. I will, I can, I will, I did. So just, she hasn't actually been in much.
Okay. But yeah, I recommend Girl with All the Gifts too, because that one actually stars Glenn Close, and like that movie is really good.
I'll have to check that out.
If you want a unique take on the zombie film, that is a very good one.
Booyah!
Booyah!
All right, you share these bad boys now.
All right, so as most people know, I tend to go on theme as much as I possibly can.
Balls deep is what we refer to Scott here. He likes to go all the way. I muted myself. I was like, all the way.
So yes, the first one I am going to talk about was recommended to me by Heather, and that was DeadCon from 2019, which is still available on Netflix. But it's about this YouTube sensation that is going to I guess you would call like a social media personality convention, wherever she's going there to meet her fans and do like go to these different it's like a convention. So yeah, she's going and talking to everybody, like going to these what is Heather doing?
Sorry.
What the hell was that?
I had to come downstairs and feed my dog, and my Zoom camera tilted and my face disappeared, and I was trying to scare Scott.
Oh, it just looked like you were playing fake drums in the air. You're just going do 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 do. So yeah, I watched the movie called DeadCon from 2019, and this is about a YouTube star sensation that is going to a convention where a lot of these social media personalities go and meet their fans, and they do like in-depth talks and like just kind of talking to everybody, question and answer style. And while they're there, they she goes to get her apartment, her hotel, and the hotel ends up accidentally overbooking. So they're like, oh, we don't have a room. And they're like, oh, wait, we did find one on this floor. So they put her in this room, and this room is basically haunted. And she starts seeing weird things happening. Her room starts getting messed up. Things are on the walls.
This movie, actually, I enjoyed it a lot.
Yeah, I'll say it was pretty creepy, and like yeah, it's kind of like a supernatural horror film. And yeah, I started to realize I used to hate these types of movies that dealt with these YouTube social media style personalities because they're just so over the top. And then I realized that's what these characters are. They are over the top.
And this is us. We're stars now, Scott.
We are.
We go to a convention and at least we would know each other.
Exactly. Be like, Heather, I know you from Friday Nightmares. You'd be like, Smoke Show, I know you from Friday Nightmares.
We're signing each other's shit.
Yeah. I'll sign your boobs, you sign my ass.
Be amazing. Be awesome.
But yeah, I thought that kind of was a lot of fun. I would recommend checking that one out. But the next social media found footage horror film that I'm going to talk about is the uncorked one that I briefly mentioned above, and that is #Captured from 2017. Boy, these characters, dear God, they are basically a group of 18-year-old high school students that have like this like live sex show, sex party thing that they like basically say it's kind of like OnlyFans before OnlyFans, where it's like you give us money and we'll go further in what we're doing, and they'll like, and it's these two girls and two guys, and they're usually just put the girls on the screen and let them do their thing, and then a new girl comes to town that ends up getting invited to hang out with them, and while they're recording and doing all this stuff, a fight breaks out and she leaves. But then these people start getting stalked by this very virtuous and righteous killer who is basically killing in the name of God for these characters sinning. And the way this guy talks is just so freaking laughable, like as he's making these kills. Like it's just, and these characters are just so dumb, and the story is so dumb.
It sounds like a cheap way to show ass and tits.
It pretty much
and
was.
watch chicks make out with each other.
Pretty much was.
Yeah.
It was just, yeah. It wasn't horrible, but it was just kind of like, why? It's dumb.
Why? Because anyone can make a movie. That's
true,
why.
And Uncorked proves that.
All the time.
Yep. But the next one, which I did enjoy, was Scare Campaign from 2016. Have you seen this?
Is that about the Donald Trump 2016 campaign?
It should have been.
Just kidding.
Have you seen this one?
No.
Okay. Yeah, this one was pretty freaking good. It was basically one of those reality TV shows where they do the pranks on people, and like they try to like scare, like they'll bring someone in that doesn't know what's going on, and like, oh yeah, you're gonna be working at this hospital tonight, and then they'll have these like actors coming out as like ghosts, and like they'll just start like having weird shit happening to these people until they freak out and run out the door. And they basically get told by their producer, we need to up the game because there is this group out there called Scare Campaign, and she shows a video of them, and they're actually really killing people on camera and like getting all these likes from social media. And they're going, well, we're not going to go that far. Are you kidding me? Well, they decide to try to play a prank on another person. And then these guys from the Scare Campaign show up and start actually killing these people and videotaping it. And it's pretty freaking creepy and pretty gory and some really, really awesome kills.
I feel like that's pretty accurate to where social media could go at some point.
Yeah.
To be honest with you.
Yep, just taking one step further every single time.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I recommend this one. This one was pretty dark. It was gory, and it was just a good watch. And it's like one of my favorite things now is watching these reality shows just kind of get their comeuppance for doing something stupid.
I agree with you.
And then the next thing is a franchise I'll just talk about briefly, but I brought it up on our last episode just because of the 2020 election happening. I finally decided to watch all 4 of the Purge films. Didn't bother with the TV series because when it comes to TV, I just don't feel like diving into some long drawn out stories like that. But yeah, I had fun with these movies. They're simple. They're kind of scary because of how close that the states are to this. But like I enjoyed every single one of them. The first one, like, you know, was just a self-isolation horror film. Like, and then, you know, they did what I wanted them to do, which was expand and be out in the world, seeing what's happening while this is going on instead of just being in a house. And yep, and there was part 2 was Anarchy, which I thought was pretty good. It had some pretty freaky moments. Kind of reminded me of like what was it, Judgment Night, which kind of like a thriller that starred Emilio Estevez and all that.
The protests that your country has seen this year.
Yeah, pretty much. Like the election year movie was like pretty accurate to that stuff. And then the First Purge, which seems to have gotten like the lowest rating on Letterboxd, I actually like better than the rest of them because it kind of builds that story of how this happens. And they, of course, start the purge in this impoverished area by offering these people $5,000 if they stay the night during the purge night for 12 hours.
Yeah.
And like seeing how it kind of just unravels from there. And like, yeah, that was a dark story, but like, fuck, I enjoyed all these movies. They were really good. Like, They're not like going to be like, oh my God, best movies of the year, but they were entertaining. They were a little too realistic at times, but all in all, pretty solid franchise.
Well, I'm sure, if anyone listens to us and their Exploding Heads Patreon, they know that Exploding Heads covered these 4 movies recently. And they did a really good job of it, actually. They did a really good in-depth conversation on it, probably more than Scott and I will ever do on them. I don't know. Maybe we'll go over them at some point for something that we do, probably political movies or whatever. But very, very good review. So if you're a Patreon, check it out. If you're not a Patreon, then maybe consider joining Patreon and checking it out if you are a fan of these films, because their review is quite comprehensive and very, very good.
Nice. And the last one is one that is my shame on me for not watching, and that is Tobe Hooper's Salem's Lot from 1979, which is based off the Stephen King novel of the same name. And this is Salem's Lot, the novel, is in my top 5 Stephen King stories. I love this. It's like just a simple vampire story, but the characters in it are what make it. And Tobe Hooper did an amazing job of recreating this and bringing it to life, and hit a lot of the story notes that were in the book. Like, this is probably the better. I haven't seen I think it was like the early 2000s miniseries adaptation that came out that stars Rob Lowe, but I'll probably check that out at some point. But I know this one, damn good vampire movie.
Where does it fall on your vampire movies that you've seen?
I would say in my top 10.
Really?
Yeah. Like, this was
That's another
really
theme
good.
we'll have to do in 2021, vampires.
Yes, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, this one has those, like, there's people that have always shared the specific scene of the child vampire floating outside the window, scratching on the window and saying how it scared the shit out of them when they were kids.
Mm-hmm.
I could see why. This was like the atmosphere and the setting for those scenes when that happens. Fucking creepy.
So when it's done in Buffy the Vampire Slayer with Luke Perry, that must be what they're referring to. That's what the callback must be to. Salem's Lot. You know what scene I'm talking about, right?
Oh, you're talking about the original Buffy, not the TV series. Oh,
No, the movie with Christian.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. Swan, when his buddy floats up.
Yeah, I bet you 100%.
That must be what the shout out was to.
Yeah, I bet you it was. Because, yeah, I haven't seen the Buffy movie in a very long time, so it took me a second to realize what you're talking about. But yeah, highly recommend this movie. It's a bit of a watch, though, because this was a made-for-TV miniseries as well from the 70s, so it's a little over 3 hours long. But it is well worth it. Like, I highly recommend this movie, and it was just recently put on Shudder.
Nice. Good to know. I may save it for when we do our vampire films, because I have a feeling this will be one of them.
Yeah, I think you'll like it. I'm not sure where it'll land for you, but I think you'll really enjoy it.
Awesome. So we're going to break into what we've been listening to. Scott, do you want me to go first, or do you want to go first?
I can go first.
Alrighty.
So yeah, what we've been listening to, I will talk about another offshoot of Horror News Radio, and the same guys, they have the website Gruesome Magazine, I also talked about that show. This is their Decades of Horrors 1980s, featuring the hosts Jeff Moore, Bill Mulligan, Crystal Cleveland, and Chad Hunt, who are all from the Horror News Radio Gruesome Magazine website. And yep, I'd say it's about a once a month podcast. They go deep into one 1980s horror film and just kind of go into great detail about it and their personal opinions on it. And really well done, really informative, great personalities, so it's fun to listen to. They're funny, they're entertaining, they're knowledgeable. The last episode they released was about 14 days ago, and that was The Burning. And they talk into, like, before they even get into the review of the movie, they get into so much detail of like everything about this film, like how it was made, this and that, how much it cost. Like, if you want a good, just like intellectual, in-depth conversation about a 80s horror film, I recommend this podcast, because yeah, they they cover everything from the popular stuff to like the not so popular stuff that you may not have heard of.
That is awesome. I really love when podcasts go that deep, because I like when things go deep, but
I know you do.
oh yeah. But I really do like the in-depth discussions. I always find that interesting. I like knowing about backgrounds of movies, how much it cost, where it was filmed, like what it like. I'm finding I have more and more of an interest in that just as time goes on, and the more movies I watch, and the more appreciation I have for the behind-the-scenes stuff.
Yeah, and like they do an amazing job, because I'm right there with you. I've been listening to these guys for a while, and they have different hosts on different shows, but they also have a Decades of Horror 1970s and a Decades of Horror the Classic Era, which covers 1920s up to the 60s.
Wow.
And those other two shows have different people on them talking about it. So like they've pretty much covered them all. They even had a Decades of Horror 1990s, but that was with Thomas Mariani when he was still with them. But once he left, I think that one kind of fell by the wayside.
Fair enough. We should just get Thomas to do one for us.
Right? Like that man knows his stuff, so it'd be interesting to hear him talk more.
When we used to do trivia with him, oh my god.
Oh gosh. He would just smoke us.
We all wanted to be on Thomas's team because he knew everything.
Yeah. Oh my
gosh. So the podcast I'm going to talk about is the TGIF 13, Friday the 13th fan podcast on Horrorphilia. Was on Horrorphilia, now it's independent. It's done by Christian Luciani and Vince. I don't know Vince's last name. I think they just call him Vince all the time.
Vince McMahon.
Is it Vince McMahon?
No, because of WWE.
I was like, I don't think that's his name. But it is so funny. It's a commentary, and Christian he edits it. So he's also the editor on the Exploding Heads movie podcast, or the Exploding Heads podcast. And it's really, like, have you ever listened to them?
Oh yeah.
Oh my god, it's so funny. Like they're both Canadian, and they usually podcast in person. Christian lives just 10-15 minutes from me, and Vince also lives in the same area as me as well. And Vince is openly gay, and the shit he makes fun of with being openly gay, it's just so funny. The amount they talk about cocks on that show, like, I feel like it's a show that when I go on, I just have a lot to contribute, because I also know a lot about cocks. So I feel like I will have a lot to share to the conversation.
I think you will.
Right? And they've done the Hatchet series. They've done all the Halloweens. They've, of course, done the Friday the 13th. And if you're looking for a commentary that you're not going to follow with the movie, like if you try to follow along with the movie, you're going to be out of luck because they do edit it. But if you just want to listen to two dudes like crack jokes, make fun of the movie, and clearly like longtime friendship. They met at Brock University in St. Catharines when they were like early 20s. So they've known each other, at least 20 years. It's awesome. So check it out. And if you're a fan of Exploding Heads, there's no reason why you shouldn't have checked out this podcast, because this was Christian's first podcast. Vince was his first before Dave and Brandon came in for their threesome. So give it a listen. It's awesome.
Yep, I can second that, because the TGIF is a great fun listen, and it's different. It's a unique way to listen to a commentary.
It is. I like that he edits it. I really respect that he really cuts it down to the funny parts.
Right. Yeah,
and he's
like
funny. Like him and Vince are fucking funny. Like
they're hilarious.
They got jokes, man.
Yeah, they are hilarious together. They bounce off each other perfectly.
Absolutely. Well, we're going to take a brief break, and we're going to hear from one of our podcasting friends, and then we're going to get into our main topic. So after these messages, we'll be right back.
This is Bo from LegionPodcasts.com. Hey, it's been a crazy time, and when the world gets nuts, we're happy to offer some old-fashioned podcast entertainment. But for some folks, getting a laugh out of a show isn't really helping these days. People who depend on tips in their bartending jobs or have been put on furlough with no pay till the worst of this coronavirus threat has passed. That's a tough spot. That's why we set up a GoFundMe for members of our community, a sort of grand scale take a penny, leave a penny. For people like myself, for whom the recent disruptions haven't kicked us out of work, well, we can drop a few of those extra pennies in the GoFundMe jar. For those who are directly affected by recent events, and find themselves looking for money to pay the electric bill or keep the water on, Well, how about you give me a shout at Bo, B-O, at legionpodcasts.com. Let me know the situation and what you need, and we'll do our best to make life a little easier. And you can find links to the GoFundMe on the front page of legionpodcasts.com, on our Facebook group page, or on Twitter at Legion Podcasts, where it's the pinned tweet. For those of you who are able, thanks in advance for chipping in. And members of our community who need a hand, hey, here we are. Remember, stay safe, stay healthy, and we're all going to get through this together. Legion isn't just a name, it's who we are. Thanks for listening to all the shows here on Legion Podcasts, and we'll talk to you soon.
Welcome back. And going on our found footage adventures, which shocks me because I did not like found footage, as we talked about in our last episode, until recently. Honestly, until listening to Exploding Heads, watching other found footage movies, I've really begun to build appreciation. Though the one area I did enjoy it is social media found footage. Probably because I like social media, generally speaking. I enjoy it. I enjoy it as a way to communicate with what I'm doing. I enjoy it as a way to see what other people are doing. I have a Facebook that I'm pretty active on, an Instagram I'm pretty active on. Twitter I have as well, but more just for news and information like that. And LinkedIn I have for professional reasons. Scott, what about you?
Yep, I have an Instagram and Facebook. I had Twitter, but I deleted it because I just didn't understand it. I just didn't see the point in it. Instagram I forget to use a lot. I used to be on it a lot back in the day, but I just tend to forget about it now because I just focus on Facebook, and that's where I do a lot of my interactions with friends and people. And other than that, really not many other places. I don't really find the need to be on many others. I think I do have a LinkedIn profile, but I have my career, so I don't really look into that much now.
I
and
get
then
you.
but then the other social media experiences would be talking about live, playing video games live with friends and stuff, and doing the social chatting with people there and stuff like that.
And that's Switch?
That would be Twitch.
Twitch. So, I'm personally a big social media person. I enjoy Facebook. I originally only got Facebook because my friends went to serve in Afghanistan, and they were going away overseas, and it was a way to keep in contact with them. I can message them when they got access to a computer or whatever, because this is before really smartphones were everyone had one or anything like that. And then it's kind of developed and grown. And now I find that my majority of contact on Facebook is with my horror community friends.
Yep.
Couple of my close friends. I do have a couple of chat groups. Well, two, with my ladies, and a couple with some friends around here. But majority of my communications, and I usually call people on Messenger too, especially living in Canada.
Well, I'll say, you and I, that's how we talk 90% of the time. 90%
of the time. Same with Brandon Orlick. I call him frequently on Messenger as well, just because, yet again, America to Canada, you don't have to worry about long distance fees or anything like that.
Yeah.
And you can call from your phone, and it's basically, if you're on Wi-Fi, then you're just using internet service to talk to each other. So it's really made our world a lot smaller. It's allowed us to connect and build friendships. Scott and I befriended each other over Facebook, and then ended up chatting because there was some drama in a group that we were part of, and one of Scott's friends kind of got attacked, and I felt bad for Scott, and I messaged Scott. And we kind of we just picked off from there, and we became friends, and we started chatting all the time. And that doesn't happen all the time. Sometimes you just kind of meet someone and you chat a little bit. And especially being a female, I get a lot of gentlemen messaging me to chat, and sometimes in different areas.
Though I will say, it was kind of like a snowball effect with when you messaged me. It just started with just sorry to hear about the drama, and then you asking about my old podcast, and next thing you know, it's just us asking each other just questions to get to know each other, and then it just snowballed, and just we've literally messaged each other every single day since that day, which is November 21st. We have I don't think we missed a single day of not talking to each other.
As much as I try. And it's not for trying.
I'm good at
fucking
just
stalker. Like he even went up to the motherfucking UP, and I still heard from his deadbeat ass. Like
that's right.
If I go away somewhere, he's not gonna hear from me. He's gonna be super offended, and I'm gonna be like, "Whatever, dude. I was drunk the entire time."
And I'll be like all sad.
And I'll be like, "Booyah!" But yeah, like it's just an interesting way that you can build friendships with people. It also can be used negatively, but honestly, you get what you give. Like I fucking say it how I feel. Yeah, sometimes people post things that are antagonistic, and people are gonna get mad about that. I know I've done it myself too, and I do it purposely. And if I'm pissed off about something and I post something, people don't like it, then yeah, I know what I did by posting that. More when I was younger. I don't do that as much now. If I don't like situations, I just leave them.
Yep. I just scroll past,
or I don't comment. Like I can read something I don't agree with and just keep my opinion to myself. And when you pick your battles, right? But I find social media 95% good, 5% bad. That's how I feel.
Well, and I will say with 2020, it has made me appreciate social media even more because it has helped you and I keep in contact.
Yeah.
We've become really good friends with other people in our community because of this.
Yeah.
I mean, hell, I never thought I would have good friends in Australia, but now we got Tim and Daniel that I would consider good friends of ours.
Who don't read my review on their podcast, but yeah.
Yeah, we gotta shame them for that multiple times. Shame on you. Shame horror for dummies. Shame.
But I agree with you. We would definitely not have the friendships that we have if it wasn't for social media. So, but like any good, there's bad. And because social media is just so rampant, it's become a great way to pull in horror, right? So let's look at a couple of articles. So first one is social media is having its moment on film, and it's pretty grim. So this was written on March 4th, just before everything shut down. Why is it every time a social media app is depicted on screen, it's the harboring of great evil? And if it's not supernatural evil, it's stalking or bullying or some other grave danger. This is pretty true because there was that app movie that came out last year that you downloaded. And
Countdown?
Yeah, Countdown, and like to when you would die, and then it actually like came true, right?
Yeah.
Kind of like Final Destination a little bit. For the most part, the films have portrayed social media as an obstacle to living, not a tool we use in our daily life. Still, even though there are many uses of social media on a daily basis, it's hard to shake the feeling that so much can go wrong. Movies capitalizing on the tremor of unease and Netflix shows like The Circle aren't helping. I've never seen The Circle. Have you seen it?
No, I don't even heard of that one, actually.
Social media invites strangers and thus unknowns into our lives, like Scott and I.
Yeah.
Here's how different movies have handled them, lure, potential dangers, and lurks in our online presence. Unlike vampire and monster movies, social media is one relatable monster. So I only copied this part of the article because it went on to talk about a whole bunch of social media movies, which we're going to talk about in our review. But I think it's true. Social media is usually presented as something that is evil, that is something that is ruining us. We're not able to have face-to-face conversations, which I think is complete horseshit. I really do. I don't think because I can message and type on Messenger that I can't talk to people face to face. And then people always do this thing and they'll be like, well, teenagers don't have social skills anymore. Yeah, your social skills with adults as a teenager are probably shit too. Like no one wants to talk to a fucking adult. They want to talk to other teens. Well, they're not talking face to face because you're around them all the time and you would know this. Like
right. And
they have to go to school and talk at some point. Like I don't understand.
Well, and a lot of the older generation doesn't get it, like because the teenagers will be on their phones while they're around their parents and family, and they'll look at that and go, "Oh, they're not socializing at all." Bullshit. I can guarantee you the reason they're on their phone is because they're bored and not wanting to talk to family and adults. They are probably messaging back and forth with their friends right there.
And I have been out at restaurants and seen older people on their phones.
Yeah.
Like the same amount. like I don't understand where this like idea. Now, maybe you're not on your phone and you see other people and that bothers you. Yeah, and again, I don't know why it does because it has nothing to do with you.
Right, exactly.
But if for some reason it chooses to, and yes, maybe our social interaction world is changing. Perhaps when you interact with a teenager, they don't have any social skills. But I interact with teenagers all the time at McDonald's, at Walmart, at other places, stores that I've been to, in my job, because I work with teenagers at a university. honestly, I don't think social media is ruining them at all. I've been able to have productive conversations with majority of them. And honestly, the ones that I've struggled with, I think I would have struggled with before the creation of Facebook. Like there's just people that struggle, that are socially awkward. And for some of those people, social media is a gift. But of course, nothing kind of like masturbation, nothing beats the real thing, which is sex, right? Like nothing beats in person hanging out and watching a film together. I'm not saying that social media can replace all that, but it can add value to your life. It can allow you to connect with people from other parts of the world, people that have other interests with you, and ways that you can expand your knowledge and your horizon. So yes, do I think there needs to be a balance? Absolutely. But if we're going to look at problems with social media, I definitely don't think it just lies in the younger generation. I think it lies within anybody and all the adults that online bully as well. Like 2020 has showed the real finest of people that we have to offer, especially when I read news feeds on an article. And like last week I was on this local news station, and it posted something like some American people overjoyed about Biden and a vaccine is on the way. So the reason why they titled that is so you click on it. If you actually read the article, it said, some people in America are really thrilled about Biden. The election was a great turnout. And the second part is, and in other news, other good news this week is that there's a vaccine on the way, blah, 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 blah. But of course, people don't open the article. They just read the headline.
Yep.
And they went on to well, Joe Biden didn't create the vaccine. Oh, Trump never should have. These are all Canadians. Okay, these are people that have fucking zero skin in the American game. And I finally had it, and I wrote a message going, y'all need to calm down. First off, this article, if you read it, is just talking how some people, maybe not you, but some people are excited that Joe Biden has been elected president. And the other part talks about how there's a vaccine in the process and in the works. I don't know why either anyone would get upset about this. And second of all, we're Canadian. We don't even have voting power in the American election. And I've never seen so many likes that I got on that post.
Good for you.
And it was on, it's shit like that. So we had adults that go online and then people attacking each other and being like, you're stupid, or I hope COVID kills you and your family. Like really fucking stupid shit that people type.
The adults are just as bad as the teenage bullies.
They're I almost feel like they're worse because they should know better.
Yeah.
And we've seen it in our own community too, of adults just getting mad and not everyone likes us, and it sucks. And it sucks when people put mean stuff about us on the internet. It really does. And I think it's a natural reaction to want to defend yourself. Absolutely. I could never fault anyone for that because I definitely feel that way too. But why do we have to even make someone feel that way? Right. It's just interesting, right? There's sharing your opinions politically and having an opinion, and then there's attacking people. And those are two very different things.
I completely agree.
Right. So anyway, there's a thesis I found, interestingly enough, of social horror and social media, the threat and emergence of technology in Unfriended and Sick House. Have you heard of Sick House?
No, that one just kind of caught my attention.
We'll have to take a look at what Sick House is, but this was by Jessica Hamrick, senior thesis, and it was submitted to the Department of English at Vanderbilt University for her honors. So that's kind of cool. So I was able to find it online. So she decided to get into a discussion on how Unfriended explores the world of privacy and how social media has allowed us to share information more readily and without forgiveness. 100% true. Anything we do can be posted, shared, and commented on. This leads to bullying, as we just talked about, depression, loss of employment, status loss, etc. So there are people that have lost their jobs over what they posted online.
Yep. Yeah, because you are an idiot if you don't think when you go fill out your resume or fill out that application that the employers that are looking to hire you are not looking at your social media presence.
And, we can all debate whether that's right or wrong, because who you are on social media, I think of me and my videos that I post to me at the club. but at the same time, I don't go on and be like, my work sucks, my job sucks, students are stupid, and I don't like it.
I'll give a little bit of behind the scenes because my boss told me like a little bit of what she's did because like she got a stack of applications that she's been going through, and she's like, yeah, you're a fool if you don't think I'm looking at your social media to see how you are as a person. She's like, I don't care if you're going out and partying and having fun like that, but when you're talking about your previous job and smashing people and like talking how bad, like just pretty much putting your old company on blast, she's like, you are not getting hired.
Right. You really do have to. And there is such thing as company reviews. You can go on Google and write an anonymous review about a company. If you are truly concerned about behaviors at a company and you want people to know, that is a possibility. You can make your voice heard that way and still protect yourself because there are bad companies that are out there. There are, and so anyway, I think that's an interesting point. And it's just, social media presence and who I see someone is online and who I think they are in person, I always think it's a little bit of both. I think there's always an amount of freedom and lack of consequences with social media.
Yeah, there's anonymity. God, I can't say the word.
No, I know you can be anonymous but not be anonymous.
Yeah.
You can have a face to your name and you can say whatever you want, and you become very antagonistic. And I feel like that's what we saw a lot last week with the election, is that people were just very antagonistic and trying to, there's such thing as posting stuff because you want to share information that's relevant and fact checked, and unless you're on Parler.
Let's not even go there. Good
right?
Lord.
What is dumb site?
I read something that said Parler, a safe space for the new age snowflakes.
Well, and it's just funny because Parler, like they even say, I read a little bit about it and they don't fact check, which is fine.
Yeah.
They purposely don't fact check. So like you just be reading a bunch of myths then. I guess if that's what you want to do, you want to read myths and shit and like, I don't know, like believe into whatever you want to believe into. And, it's not that I don't think corruption happens and there's some truth to conspiracy theories. Absolutely. Of course I do. But I just feel like sometimes people just feel the need to like say things that because they feel threatened in their own stuff. Anyway, but let's talk a little bit about this individual's thesis a little more and a little bit of a snapshot from what she had to say. Now, nearly 200 years subsequently to the publication of Shelley's Gothic fiction, so referring to Frankenstein, a similar sentiment surrounding the affairs of horror and technology have erupted. However, this sentiment, rather than focusing on the mechanical inventions of like the telegraph or the typewriter, centers on those network and communicative advancements in social media. And in fitting of the industrial age of Frankenstein, in 2012, writer Mark Benoff for BBC went as far to call today's social revolution basically the new industrial revolution that brought to the birth of Frankenstein is what we're seeing now when it comes to technology.
Makes sense.
Yeah. Do you agree with that?
Yeah.
Cool. Newly minted websites like Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and Snapchat are promoted within the internet to innovate the ways in which we interact with each other on a daily basis. According to the same piece, it is in fact due to this very development of social media that the world is changing at a speed we could never imagine before. Absolutely. In this sense, our ability to access information, relay messages, connect with one another is rapidly increasing and constantly reshaping the continued introduction of the new network platforms. Maintaining the notion that the instance of narrative horror serves as investigations into description of accepted understandings of life and culture. This drastic technological deviation in how we develop a community is ripe for horrific interpretations. It's like they knew about the horror community. It's like the complete definition. Right? Undoubtedly, the horror genre has responded, and we absolutely have. We have taken what is the new and the minted, and I remember when Facebook and MySpace and all that stuff came out, and ICQ, and you would like message people online. Did you ever have ICQ?
I don't even know what that is.
Wow, you were not cool.
Well, I was like, we had what the hell was it? what was the name of the? We'd always get a free disc of it in the mail, and it was AOL Messenger.
AOL. Okay. So we used ICQ up here. I remember. Did you ever go to chat rooms?
Yeah, I used to be in chat rooms all the time. I was probably too young and immature to even bother with chat rooms because I go on there and just be a complete jackass.
So I'm going to tell you a story that I only told my close friends in high school. So we used to have a computer lab, right, back in the day, and we used to have, like, you could go on and go to chat rooms during your spares. So Christian brought up spares on Exploding Heads, and no one understood what that meant. A spare was a time period where you didn't have a class, but it wasn't considered lunch. So you just had that hour and 15 minutes off.
Really?
So in the Canadian school system, you could have a lunch and a spare, and the spare was supposed to be used to do schoolwork or, I don't know, work out at the gym, whatever you're going to do during that time frame. Because if you had your spare and your lunch back to back, it was usually close to 2.5 hours off you would have.
Holy shit. Yeah, we never had anything like that. We would have like 45 minutes, maybe an hour for lunch, and then we'd back to school.
Yeah, no.
Like there was no... The only time you had for socializing or break was walking between classes, going to your locker, and chatting before the bell rang for your next class.
No, we had set up like actual times and stuff. So
that's crazy.
And you would only get those in older grades, right? So you wouldn't get a spare until like grade 10, 11, 12 kind of thing. So anyway, I was on my spare period, or my spare period, not my period. I was on a spare time where I wasn't in class, and I'm on this chat room. And the guy said he was in Australia. I don't know, maybe it was Tim Davis. Though Tim is considerably younger than me, but I don't know. And we did sexting, right? So right? Like, and I remember at one point he was like, and I thought it was funny. Like, I wasn't actually aroused by it at all. I just thought it was hilarious. He's like, I got you up against the wall. And I'm kind of like, I don't know, like whatever fucking fantasy he had. And I just remember at the end of it, I guess he must have been jerking off at the time, right? And he was like, oh my God, that was the best I've ever had. You're the best, blah, blah, blah. I love the way you type. Like, it was just like, it was so fucking dumb. But I remember 17 being like, oh man, this is jokes. And that shit's still going on today. Like now though, you get like webcams and you can do like mutual masturbation and stuff, and like it's really expanded more from just these chat rooms where you could go in and talk to random people to real like sexual exploitation, ideally consensual or not. And yeah, it's just really, really interesting that here's this little 17-year-old Heather like engaging in this sex chat in the middle of the day on like a Wednesday.
I did that a few times too. Like,
was it you? Maybe it was you and me.
Yeah, hey, see, our roads crossed once again. That's right.
So you had some sex chats too online?
Yeah, because I just like you, I thought they were amusing. I'd never got off on it or anything like that. I just thought it was.
Are you sure?
I'm sure. I wasn't. I'm easily aroused. Not that easily aroused.
You were like, well, it's interesting, right? And like, it's very. Anyway, like, and I guess you could envision that the person looked like however you wanted them to look like, right? Like you could just make it be whatever you wanted. But I think about where we've come. So that was I was 17. So that would have been what, maybe 2000 to now, 20 years. That's insane.
Yeah. Like in those 20 years, how much things have changed.
Right? Like I still sex chat. Nothing's changed there. Now I get paid for it. I wish.
I was like, wait, please tell me where this website is.
Oh, nah. You wouldn't want chat. You'd want like more stuff than chat.
Well, of course, but I mean,
you could never just do chat anymore. The dude would be like, what the fuck is this shit?
I mean, we're friends, so I would try to get more, you know?
Right? Oh, yeah. You'd be like, yeah, take it, Heather. I'd be like, Scott!
Come on. Smoke show.
Because it'd be like some code name. I'd be like, Candy Cane. Candy Cane 69. So sweet. I'll give you cavities. So we've developed Candy Cane like Christmas, because Christmas is coming.
Yeah, Christmas is coming.
So we've developed a bunch of movies based on this. And it's ironic that we're talking about chats because our first movie is based on chat rooms.
Yeah.
I didn't plan that at all. I mean, of course I planned that here on Friday Nightmares, because this is an extremely professional podcast with very, very professional hosts that are very equipped.
Yes,
so,
and we know exactly what we're doing.
That's right. And I purposely did that segue because I'm so talented. So why don't you lead the way in?
All right. So the first movie we are going to talk about is the 2013's The Den. Apparently released in some countries as Hacked, which, by the way the movie is, makes absolute sense. But it is considered an American slasher film by Zachary Donahue and is his feature film directorial debut. The film was first released in Russia on December 23rd, 2013, and was given a simultaneous limited theatrical and VOD release on March 14th, 2014 through IFC Midnight. Stars Melanie Papala as a young woman who discovers a murder via webcam, and the film is shot as computer screens. The movie begins with Elizabeth logging into a webcam-based social media site known as The Den, or in the real world known as Chat Roulette.
Is that what it was?
Yep. Chat Roulette is kind of like what the whole thing here is going on, where it's like just randomly pick somebody and they go, okay, there's a dick. All right, move on. Oh, there's another dick. All right,
I'd be like, there's a dick. Stay.
It's like, hello. How hard are you? Oh my God.
I would be offended if some dude showed me his dick. I'd be like, show me more, fucking bitch. Let's see what you got. They'd be like,
you'd be making them. You'd be taking them further. Yeah. Come on.
I'd be like, that's it. Let's see what you can do with it. They'd probably like, who's this?
Right, like, damn, this is working.
This chick is crazy. Anyway.
But yes, it follows a social media site known as The Den, which allows users to chat with random strangers across the world, similar to Chat Roulette. For her graduate project in sociology, she proposes the idea to chat with as many strangers as possible and calculate how many meaningful conversations she can accumulate from around the world.
Bang, bam, bam, bam. What are you thinking on this one, Scotty?
This was a really good horror film, and I feel really hits that social media Chat Roulette style, because you see her going through, like, because it is literally just you're filming someone's computer screen the whole movie. And you were seeing her going through, and just like I was saying, like random dick shots, she will find, like, she'll click on somebody and it'll be some weird dude that all of a sudden is just like jerking off on the screen looking at her. And she'll go, all right, skip that one. And she'll go and she'll find someone that's actually talking to her, and they'll have a chat, and then she'll move on to another one, and could be like a weird prank, could be just another normal person, could be another naked dude. It's literally Russian roulette with the chat group.
Could be someone randomly with cats staring.
Yep.
Could be someone watching a TV show and having them just sitting there watching the TV show and having having the chat room open.
Yep. Like, it's just whatever you could find. Yep. And it was kind of like, it's a place for dangerous shit to happen. Because as this movie shows, she stumbles across the stumbles across this profile of a young woman, but it's just a picture, and the person's only typing and not actually talking through a microphone. Which right there, it's like, all right, that's kind of creepy. And then she notices that the same profile keeps popping back up in this random roulette with her, and starts sending more weird messages. And then at one point, it all of a sudden cuts to a video of a woman being murdered right in front of her, like throat being sliced right on the screen. And they don't hold back. This is like a very mean-spirited type of, like, forcing you to watch the stuff on the screen. And then stuff happens where all of a sudden she's getting hacked after that when she starts telling authorities, and it just gets worse and worse.
And the stalking slowly gears up, and it kind of shows how obsessed she is with it too. Like, her boyfriend, she calls him at work. He's like, when are you going to come over? When are we going to get together? And she keeps pushing him away. And her friend will only come over, and she has to be constantly working on it, which is pretty similar to grad students. Like, this is actually pretty accurate to what a graduate student would be like, is putting their work first. I kept thinking her boyfriend was going to cheat on her.
Yeah.
Like, I kept thinking she was somehow going to watch a video of him banging some other chick. Like, that's what I was waiting for. But when he comes and surprises her and gives her oral sex, and then it's recorded,
Yeah, the camera turns on and starts recording.
And sends it to her graduate professor. Like, how fucked up is that?
Yeah.
Like,
because it's being sent to her professor through her own email, so it's like she purposely sent it to her professor.
Right. And I feel like in 2013, this did a really good job on playing on the insecurities of what we share online.
Yes, it hit the fears too,
right?
Of what could happen.
And if you look at her screen, it showed her background, it showed her house, which was a 1-floor house. Everything was kind of on one floor. I guess it was like a bungalow of some type. And it was very interestingly filmed, always from the laptop or somebody's social media view. So whether it was a phone, whether it was a laptop, you were constantly seeing it from some kind of electronic device.
Yeah, there was no third person camera view.
Yeah, there was none of that. I thought they did a good job of her character development. Like, the thing about found footage is you really do need to build a character that you can be behind, that you can see what they're seeing and live it. So even though we're seeing what she's seeing, we're also seeing her reaction at the same time. So it was a very interesting way that it was filmed.
Yep, I completely agree. Like, I thought this film did a really good job of covering the social media aspect of this and being part of this found footage, this part of this different style of found footage genre. It plays on the fears of the technology. It plays on the danger, like, once again, the fears of technology and the superstitious fears of talking to strangers online and sharing too much information.
And the video part of it, right? We're moving beyond the typing part. And I feel like this is one of the first horror movies that really exploited that. The whole video chatting software. I don't know when Skype started to pick off, but obviously Skype was probably around. And the whole idea of being able to communicate and connect with somebody online through your computer screen and then be able to see you and acknowledge where you are is very interesting. Like, I find that fascinating that they chose that, and they chose the relationship building that she engages in, basically the study of human behaviors online. And I'm not sure if you remember, like, the two South Asian gentlemen that were trying to convince her to masturbate.
Yeah, because they didn't understand a woman's body, and he wanted to, like, the guy was getting ready to get married or whatever, and wanted to make sure he was pleased.
Which she didn't believe. Who knows if he was telling the truth or not?
Right.
I don't.
Well, then
was.
And then they also did the play on the Nigerian prince thing.
Yes.
The emails with the guy that come out. And she's like, "Does this work?" And he's like, "All of the time."
Yes, right? Like, it was, and then she meets that one woman who she has a nice conversation with. Then she connects with someone that was a friend of her boyfriend's, was on his friend list, and calls him, and the guy's like, I haven't spoken to him since.
Oh, yeah.
Which is a really interesting play on how we do add people on. I noticed that when I got into podcasting, I still get friends requests all the time, a lot from men, because I'm a female and they want to talk to me. Not that I think I'm anything special. That's just why. But yeah, like, it kind of showed how, like, we don't really know who's on our friend list, and the guy's like, I have no fucking idea where he is. I haven't talked to him in years.
Right, like you just add like in social media world, you, like, for especially like the older people that you're friends with, it's like you're adding them because of who they were in the past. Like, yeah, hey, I remember you from school, I'll add you.
And I think there's something to be said about packing your numbers, right? Or padding your numbers on social media. Like, there used to be a thing where people would compare how many friends they had or how many followers they had, which we get more into with YouTube and other stuff like that. So I feel like this movie was just capitalizing on that you can have people as friends on your page, but don't really know who they are. They don't know who you are. Like, I thought it did a really good job of touching on that whole basis of what we see developing now of social media. And besides the fact that the end was very suspenseful, very scary, she wakes up in that fucking room in, like, a warehouse fucking hole, and it's disgusting.
Yeah, and, like, the fact that she's, like, forced to watch one of her friends in another room being killed on repeat. and like forced to see her boyfriend all tied up and beat up. And then like this movie hits a very dark note because like she goes to escape.
Yeah.
And you think she's going to make it, and she doesn't, and they bring her back. And then it pans and it cuts over to the English woman that she was talking to and having a cordial conversation with earlier in the movie, like through the chat roulette. And she stumbles across, all of a sudden, the main girl's profile picture with no video. And then all of a sudden the video plays of her being killed in front of her.
Exactly. Right.
And it just kind of went full circle, and it was just, it's a very dark, but also kind of like a warning of like, be careful what you do.
Well, and the part that really I was shocked that they went to is with the pregnant sister.
Yeah.
Like I was surprised of how far they took that. Like when her boyfriend gets kidnapped, that was shocking because she turns away for a second and it happens, right?
Right.
But with her sister, like it's intense. Like I found that scene really, really hard to watch. Like it really ramped up to the point where we get to that final, I guess, act or final part of the third act, and then of course cutting to, going back to this new woman that's being stalked by whoever this is, group of people. Obviously, it's obviously not one person. There's a group of people that go in and do this, and yeah, like and the idea that it's a snuff film website and that. You can go in and you can watch it and you can see people being actually killed, and you see the dad at the end who's watching it, and you have to put in your credit card information for more.
Yep, because I was going to say, like, because you will have people out there like that. Some believe that it's real and are paying for it because that's just type of disturbed individual they are.
Yep.
Or there's people out there that are going, oh, this isn't real, but still curious to watch.
Well, and we like to watch yet again because it's safe. It has nothing to do with us. We're separated, and we talked about in social media before. That's why the bullying occurs, right? Because you have that separation of person. I'm not watching someone I actually know. How do I know this is a real person? I've never met them before. I had no conversation with them. You have a sense of being anonymous. And no guilt associated or whatnot with it, right? When you're watching it. So
exactly.
Yeah, I feel like this was a really great birthing of the social media genre. Like I was like, to use as found footage. I really think that this did it right. I recommend watching it. I know we've spoiled a lot of it, but it's a really good film.
Yeah. Like, well, I mean, our show, we do spoil the films, and like, we're only spoiling it because it's just like of what it talked about.
Yeah, and I think even if like reviewing this, it's worth a second watch if you've seen it one time. Like it's definitely a movie that you can watch over and over again. Like it's a really, really solid film. But yeah, and then I feel like this film led the way for other films. Very popular American film coming up, and I'll let you take it away.
All right. So the next film that we are going to talk about is Unfriended from 2014, which is an American video meeting footage. That's a kind of a weird title. Supernatural horror.
Well, I think it's supposed to be a Skype, but they can't say it. It's technically on Skype, right?
Well, I mean, they even use the music for Skype when they call people.
Right.
But it is directed and produced by Levon Gabriedz and written by Nelson Greaves. The film is presented as a computer screen film, being told almost entirely through a screencast of a MacBook. The film stars Shelley Hennig, Moses Storm, Renee Olsted, Will Peltz, Jacob Wasowski, Courtney Everson, and as high school students in a Skype conversation that is haunted by a student, played by Heather Sossaman, who was bullied and committed suicide. High school student Laura Barnes commits suicide by gunshot after an anonymous user uploads a video of her passing out and defecating at an unsupervised party, and the video goes viral. 1 year later, her former childhood best friend Blair Lilly is chatting with her boyfriend Mitch Rousel on Skype, during which they agree to lose their virginities to each other on prom night. Soon after, they are joined by their friends and classmates Jess Felton, Ken Smith, and Adam Sewell, and an unbeknownst user known as Billy227.
And then the movie takes off from there. Initial thoughts, Scott?
I, once again, think this was a good representation of the technology and using it for horror. Because this is around the time that Skype was probably becoming quite popular.
Yep.
And people were starting to use it just to chat with their friends and have a good time, like hanging out. I'm sure the younger generation than me was using it a lot more than I was, because I didn't start using it for shit till probably about 2 or 3 years ago, honestly.
So you started podcasting.
Yeah, pretty much. That's exactly when I started using it.
Yeah. I think that's 100% accurate. I think most people, like, we're, 37, 39, right? So people in our generation, we are that little bit of a gap, right? Where we may not have used Skype as much.
Yep. Like, in hell, there's probably people out there our age that still don't use Skype.
Oh, yeah. I have friends that don't use Skype ever.
Yep. Like, we use it just because, like, at least I can say I use it because of podcasting.
Oh, same with me.
Yeah, I didn't know if you used it for your job before Zoom or whatnot.
No, not really. I've always had a Zoom account, so I've been using Zoom for a long time now.
Okay.
So.
And once again, that's another new technology to me, because I didn't know about that till we started recording.
Absolutely.
But yeah, I thought this was a really good, creepy horror film. The way that the person just pops up and is just like your typical blank Facebook profile picture of just like the silhouette of a person that is not responding, but only responding through, once again, text messaging.
Yep.
And basically playing a game of truth or dare with them.
And the acting in that scenes, like the characters getting as worked up as they do.
Yeah.
It's really fucking good.
Yeah, because at first they're just going, oh, this is kind of somebody's fucking with us. All right, let's leave the chat and come back. Oh, he's there again. What the hell? And then like the stuff gets more and more realistic as they start, like the guy starts sharing stuff with them that he's found of them.
Well, and it's their reaction.
Yeah.
It's their reaction to, so I wanted to start off at the beginning. You see this chick talking to her boyfriend, talking about prom night, him talking about coming over there, like very typical teenage stuff. Like I really believe they were teenagers. Like I totally believe that they were high school seniors. And, she kind of gets being a little sexy with him and clothes and shit. And then the friends crash the party and they're like, oh, you see your heart on. Like it's shit other dudes would say to other dudes, right?
Right.
And when they play that game of truth and dare and they start bringing up stuff from the past, like never have I ever defaced Laura Barnes' grave. Never have I ever slept with someone, lost my virginity. And the Mitch finds out that, what's her name? Blair slept with Adam.
Yep.
The acting there, like you would have thought it actually happened.
Yeah.
Their reactions were fucking right on. Like, because that would mean everything. Like, your girlfriend fucked your best friend before you guys got together, has led you on to believe that she's a virgin. Not.
Yep.
And then there's a video you have to watch of them fucking. Like, that is fucked up for someone in their 40s to be upset about, let alone some 17-year-olds with their hormones running crazy. And their reactions are legit.
Yeah.
Like, they're legit. That's what would happen.
I completely agree. And like, and you can see them struggling with it because like when this antagonist is basically doing this game with them, they're only allowed a certain amount of time to tell the truth. And if they don't tell the truth,
10 or seconds or 20 seconds, something like that.
Yeah. And like you see the timer counting down and everything, and you can see them stressing out, like trying to deny. And then like right before either not saying anything and something bad happens to them, or ended up just finally spilling the beans.
And it's
always devastating whenever they announce.
It's always devastating. And even when they bring in that girl at first who's like really fucking pissy and is like, why would you share this? Why don't you try apologizing to me first? Like, that dialogue was fucking right on. Like, I can't get past the dialogue of this movie and how well they develop these teenage characters. Because an adult may find that dialogue annoying, but that is how young people talk. Like, you're still learning how to communicate with each other, and you're still learning how to present your points, and you're still fired up with your hormones and everything that matters at that time, which is high school status and what people think of you. And to find out that your friends have all done these shitty things, and then they see their friend kill herself by drinking the bleach or whatever she does, and then she falls on the ground, the cops come in, the paramedics.
Mm-hmm.
And then and they really set up why they can't get off the call. What I really appreciated about this movie is they showed several times why they couldn't just hang up.
Yeah.
That there were dire consequences if they did. And I really like that Ken character that tried to like hack it and thought
Yes.
he did. And then the hand in the blender part's a little cheese, but he kind of referred to the blender earlier, so you kind of got where that came in.
Right.
But yeah, I just really, I don't know. I really feel like what made this movie was the dialogue between these young people.
I mean, honestly, like that's what this movie really is. Like you have your kills, but you're seeing 4 to 5 faces on the screen, and you're just watching people have conversations. That's
and
pretty much
I
what
will
it is.
say they did it better than Host 2020. Host 2020 was good, and I enjoyed it. But I think Christian All Exploding has said, and I agree with him, I think the character development in Unfriended and the acting by those characters, I believe them more.
Yeah, I completely agree. I mean, plus, like, the plot with Host is a bit...
Well, seance and stuff, and we were going to cover it, but we didn't. We're going to save it for another one.
Yeah.
But I think Unfriended, it just... And even as they're, each... The only thing about Unfriended that I don't get is that these are a bunch of 17-year-olds. All their parents are out on a work, like this is a weekday night. All their parents are out and not home.
That's a good point. Very good point.
Like that was the only thing that I could buy maybe 1 or 2 of them. I wish they had said something like, my parents are out of town for the night.
Or you could hear them or you hear the parents downstairs.
Or something happens to the parents downstairs. Like they try to get into the room and then they get killed.
Yeah, like there could have been something.
That is my only real criticism, is that I have a hard time buying that a bunch of 17-year-olds are all home by themselves, like at 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock at night, because some real shit starts going down in these kids' houses and shit. And like,
yeah, that's like that's the kind of part where you just gotta like suspend disbelief.
Yeah, right. Like it's the only, and really, if that's a complaint, it's a small complaint, because really, I think when they were writing this movie, they probably thought we're going to get people so connected with the dialogue and the characters that we're not going to have to worry about questioning of that kind of stuff.
Right.
And they got rid of Ken and that other girl right off the bat because neither one of them really did anything malicious. Like Ken didn't really do anything. It was the one chick that rotted out the other ones, or the one guy, Mitch, rats out Adam for selling pot because he want to get caught, and then it goes through slowly. And the death scenes are pretty dramatic, like they're pretty well filmed. And then when it gets down to Blair, and you see that video of how she was the one that posted the video of Laura shitting her pants because she was so drunk.
Yep, and she thought it was funny to do.
Right.
And it was basically, once again, don't be an online bully.
Absolutely. And I think about honestly, I remember watching Unfriended and thinking, man, I'm really glad in like 2000 this wasn't a thing, because I didn't ever shit my pants at a party, but I definitely did some stupid shit at 17.
All of us did.
19. Like I can remember I hooked up with my boyfriend when I was, 16 or 17 at a party on a couch. And we ended up, I don't even know how we ended up sleeping on the same couch that night. Like the shit you do when you're 17. And this dude was in the other room, like in the room with us on the other side of the room, and watched us. Right? Like, and in the morning I woke up and he was there. And I was like, how long have you been there for? He's like, all night. I'm like, okay. Like, that's fucked up. And this is what alcohol and shit does when you're that age. Like, I can remember going to these parties and getting fucking shit-faced and running around. I remember one time I slept under a coffee table and like stupid, dumbass shit. And I just thank God that none of that is posted, Or I remember one time I made a video because one of my boyfriends broke up with me and me crying that I was going to get to him. Yeah. Thank fucking God I didn't. That shit would have, like, if this was now, oh my God, that would have been posted.
Yeah, you would have shared that on, like,
right? It would have been shared within days or minutes. So, I think they did a really good job of people that are young not being fully developed and not being able to think about the consequences. All you're thinking about is where you're at in high school. It shows why Lauren would, like, really everyone was eventually going to forget about her shitting her pants. She would have gone on to college, university, whatever, work world.
Yeah, but it would have just been traumatizing thing for you to go through in high school because people there would not let you forget it.
No, people would be horrible to you, but you don't see beyond high school, and that's the biggest thing with bullying. And I feel like Unfriended is a great fucking movie with some great fucking kills, like the guy with the gun, Adam with the gun.
Yep.
Right, he shoots himself.
Yeah, because I think he shoots himself without instead of answering the question.
Yes. And it's just so fucked. Like, it's just, and then with Blair at the end, you just see her scream.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And so you don't really know, and it just lets your imagination take over what happened. Yeah, it's just really, sorry, I've talked a lot about this, but I just feel like it's just really smart, and it just really played a lot on, high school behavior.
Oh, I completely agree. And one thing I wanted to add to this too is this is one of those movies I wish I would have done it. I'm going to whenever I decide to rewatch this. But this should be watched on a computer screen.
Yeah, I watched it on my laptop.
I bet it had much more of an effect because it probably felt more realistic.
No, honestly, no. But for some people, it may. I just thought it was. I was so caught up with the characters that would have made it for me either way.
Okay, yeah, because I could see this is one of those type of movies that I can see not connecting with a lot of people because you do watch a lot of what I'm seeing on the screen right now, which is just looking at words as people are typing and searching stuff. But then you do get these intriguing stories, and the stuff that they're searching adds to the story and brings in more, which is going to lead us into our next movie.
But I think one of the reasons why people don't like Unfriended is because they don't like the teenagers. I feel like if teenagers annoy you, you will not like that film.
Yeah.
That's personally what I think anyway. But yeah, we can move into our next movie for sure.
Yeah, because it kind of ties in with this film, with the reading of text.
Yep.
So the next film is one that you've probably heard Heather and I both talk about highly very early in the year, and that is LiveScream from 2018. I guess it's 2020. We counted it as 2020 because it had that wide theatrical release, but it was kind of like a film festival release in 2018.
Yep.
But it's a social media video game found footage horror film, pretty much using Twitch. For anybody that's a gamer or a fan of watching playthroughs and let's plays, you are pretty much watching a person playing a video game and also seeing a chat where you can chat with other people that are watching and chat to the person that's actually playing the video game. But the synopsis is, every day, over 200 loving fans watch Scott Atkinson play horror games online. After a lifetime of failures and false starts, streaming games is the only thing he is good at. It's the thing he loves the most until it becomes a nightmare. Enter LiveScream, a mysterious horror game sent to him by an anonymous fan. At first, he thinks the game is a low-quality indie title, but when his followers start dying one by one, he soon realizes the game is far more sinister. And, well, we've gushed about this film before, but fuck, this movie is literally...
But now we can spoil the shit out of this film.
Yes.
So if you have not watched LiveScream and you don't want to have it ruined for you, skip over this. If not, we're going to talk about our love for this film.
Agreed. The one thing I will say is there is a bit of it that I do not remember because I haven't watched it since January or February and didn't get a chance to rewatch it for this episode. But this movie left a very big impression on me. For one, it is a film with just one actor. No one else is on screen. You literally see him in a box, in the corner of the screen. Then you see another box with the video game that he is playing. And then you see another box with his chat group of his followers. And this is literally what you'd see when you're watching someone play Twitch. Or play video games on Twitch. Because I've actually live streamed a few times for Pop Horror when we were starting our video game stuff there. And granted, I did not have nearly as many followers as this guy did. I think I had maybe a whole whopping 10, and they were all my close friends that were supporting me. But it's still you see that roll of text coming up as people are chatting with you, as you're chatting back with them through audio. And that's exactly what this movie is all the way through. And the actor, he is just incredible.
Gunnar Willis.
Thank you. He is just phenomenal on how he portrays everything that is going on. I have never felt so emotionally invested in characters that are not even on the screen.
Mm-hmm.
When it's just streaming a stream of text, and like the way they build these characters through these text messages, like I think you and I both had a tear in our eyes during one particular scene.
Yep, and we can talk about Clyde when we get there.
Yeah, but yeah, and it's like, and it shows this video game, like multiple video games, like because it's like each level is something different.
It reminded me of a really shitty version of Zelda.
It kind of reminded, like, yeah, because each one was like a different
Doom
style. Yeah, I'll say
Doom.
There was a couple parts in the video game that reminded me of like an indie version of Doom.
And what's really great about it is you see him setting up, and he has a min person named Clyde, who is like, he's coming, and everyone's like, why is he not here yet? He's like, don't worry, he'll be here. And I guess he was a couple minutes late because of technical things. He talks about that at the beginning. Welcomes everyone to his channel. And he gets into playing, and he's making jokes, and he's talking about the indie game, and he's like, oh, where are we going now? Oh man, like this is crazy. Oh man, guys, I can't believe I died there. Like, and he's doing stupid shit and just looking at the camera and having these reactions like, all right, well, maybe I'll just try this. What? Like, and it's fun at first, and then he notices that users start disappearing. And the first time a user disappears, it's suddenly the user's like, oh shit, there's something in my room. Oh my God, gone. Yep. And then he starts asking for another user. Does anyone know who that guy is? Can someone check on him? Because the game keeps taunting him and saying like, you lose this, someone else is going to die. And it basically creeps up to the point where he starts off like he has 200 users, and it drops off. People leave because I don't know if you remember, they go to a part where there's like everyone can see each other's face.
Yep.
And the killer comes in. Something comes in and kills one of the people.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep. And you have like, and amongst all these, you have your troll that appears.
Oh, your troll. Yes.
I forget. I think it might have even been
Lucky.
Yeah. He like was just like antagonizing the main character.
Oh man, he's a dick.
And he's just being a complete asshole in the chat to everybody else and doesn't believe what's going on. And then all of a sudden he's just like, ha, something's in my room. Well, you guys are fucking stupid. And all of a sudden just like silence. And he's gone.
Well, and I think leading up to that, though, you got to think about how I know you haven't seen it, you don't remember it, but I remember a lot of it because it really stuck with me. Because I rewatched it a second time when I rented it that night because I liked it so much. Is when it first drops down, so he has the 200 users, people drop down, and it just drops down to 10 people stay on. And he's like, you don't have to stay on, guys. And these are his followers. They're like, no, we're with you. We're going to stay on with you. You know, we're here to support you. It actually shows the relationship building that he's done. And D Lucky stays on because like, no, I'm not going anywhere. I want to see you fucking fail. Like you're a loser, blah, 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 blah. And this Clyde guy is his admin person. And they're like, no, it's okay. We got this. Let's do this. And eventually he does manage to pass several levels. It does let those other 7 people go. He has to choose 2 people. So Clyde volunteers. And then the D Lucky's guy is like, I dare you to keep me on. So he does. He chooses those 2. And Clyde is right with him up to the end. You're like, D Lucky is just a complete fucking ass, and he loses 1 level, and he gets killed, and he kills him.
Yeah.
The game kills him. And
because I forgot about the parts where he's actually having to pick the people to come with him. Yeah,
he picks those 2, and Clyde volunteers, and so does D Lucky. Because D Lucky's like, come on, dare me. I dare you. You won't fucking pick me. I dare you. Yeah. You won't, right? And he dies. And Gunnar Willis's reaction throughout this entire thing is what sells this film.
Yes, because like you just see him getting like just more distraught and progressively sad as he's knowing what's happening. And scared.
And scared, right? And he can't play the game. You stop the game, everyone dies. And he's already seen that people have died. They showed it on the screen. Now, the only thing you got to wonder is these people that went off, would they have had the technology to call the police or local authorities and maybe alert of what was going on? Because there were people that were able to exit. Or maybe they didn't think it was real. Maybe they thought it was a stunt by Scott to get more ratings. Right?
Right. Because and like the one part that really is emotional is when it just ends up being him and Clyde. and talking to Clyde, and all you're getting is the text messages back from Clyde about how you find out he's like a 40-year-old man that's just been lonely, and that like him watching Scott play these video games is what is like his highlight and brought
gave him a purpose.
Yes.
You know, he's like, all I do is work, and this is the other thing I do. You know, I'm really old. And that's just before he's about to take on a really difficult level. So he's going through these levels and trying to beat it. And he manages to pull it off, but then he does. And Clyde's like, oh man, I'm glad you did that. I didn't want to die, and et cetera, et cetera. And then during the next level, it's obviously very challenging. Like, you're watching this thinking like when you play video games, and like it goes up from one step to the next, and it gets harder and harder and harder. And the next, and you're watching him play and you're invested. You're like, holy fuck, I hope he wins, right? And he loses, and Clyde gets killed. And he shows Clyde's picture on the screen.
Yeah.
And Scott says, you'll regret showing me his face to the game or to the screen, right? And his face when he delivers that line is haunting.
It's haunting and just has such an impact. And
for one person, for one character to pull that off in a movie is fucking phenomenal. And this movie will not be for everyone, okay? You may watch this movie and you may not like it. But the fact that it was written so well that the text was able to bring emotion out from the audience, and that Gunnar Willis, Scott's character, was able to engage with that text, was able to treat it like it was another actor and reacting to it. And that line, you know, I saw this movie in January, and I can still remember him looking at the screen and saying, you'll regret showing me his face.
Yep.
And you see that look of determination that he's going to beat this game. And of course he does. And at one point he had to kill another character. Now we've established that if you die in the game, you die in real life.
Mm-hmm.
And he killed this character because he had to. He tried to avoid killing this character, actually.
The other guy kept trying.
He tried to run away from him. He tried to avoid it and eventually had to kill him. So the live stream goes, the game is like, you need to see, or we're going to show you who you killed. And it was a little kid. As a child, right? So you see the child playing, you see the child die, and then you see the child have a look of fear on his face, and the camera fades out. And it flashes back to Scott, and Scott is now destroyed.
Yep.
So we beat the game, but it has completely destroyed his life. And then there's videos of him afterwards saying, don't play this game. It's not a game, it's reality. And then people are sharing it going, oh man, this guy's talking about how this game's real. Like, it was just so fucking smart.
Yeah, it played on the technology of the time, of the streams and like that. And this is, I'm going to be rewatching this before the end of the year, because this will probably be high on my list because it's still that much of an impact on me. Like, this film for just a one-man show with text messaging.
And it cost $6,000 to make.
Yeah. So please, if you have not seen this, go rent this movie.
And to give you an idea, I did refer this to another podcaster, Brandon Orlick. I don't think I've even told Scott. I've been telling him he needs to watch it. He said, well, you and Scott have praised it. And I'm like, I'm really not sure if you're going to like it or not. I really hope you do. So he messaged me and he goes, I didn't like it. And I'm like, really? He's like, I loved it.
Oh, wow.
So, you know, it's not just Scott and I that have enjoyed this film. There's other people that have. So please check it out.
Mark Nato is another one.
Mark Nato is another one that's...
He's the one that recommended it to us.
It's true. You're right. I forgot about that. And it's the acting by Gunnar Willis, man. Like, this guy fucking owns this movie.
He does.
His reactions are so legit. You honestly feel like you're just watching a dude play video games that got put into this situation that is now, and there's one point where they, like, the video game talks about, like, tell us about you. Who are you? And he talks about how he's a loser and he's never really done anything and this is all he has. And he's like, is that what you wanted to know, game? And the game's like, yes. Like, the game really gets in his head and it's just so fucking well done. Like, please, please, please check out this film. It reflects social media so well and emotion well.
Yeah, and as far as we could tell, I think this was Gunnar Willis's only film that he did too, like his first time acting, wasn't it?
I can check out I have him right here. No, he's been in Body Swap. He's been in A Nun's Curse. He's been in a lot of Dollface.
Oh, okay. So he's been in some low budget horror.
Very, very low budget horror. So this is probably, I follow him on Instagram as well. Because I like him so much.
Yeah, because I know like when we watched this together, like you and I were not talking at all. Usually we're talking back and forth between the whole movie.
Yeah.
And we were just dead silent, and we would, because that's back when we'd always stay on camera, and you and I would just look at each other and just kind of like stunned disbelief at something that's happening on the screen, and then we would just go back without saying a word.
Yeah, and it pulled the emotion from you that you didn't even realize you had. It's and somebody may watch this movie and go, "It's a piece of shit. I don't like it." That's fine.
Yeah.
So far, I've showed it to people of different. Scott and I both liked it. Mark Nato, Brandon Orlick, all of us have slightly different tastes. So we've all enjoyed it. I definitely think it's a good movie to check out.
Yeah, and it's very simplistic and like for $6,000, fucking impressive. And like as you're starting to notice, we are hitting different types of social media. For each one of these movies is talking about something different. And like LiveScream is the only video game stream style horror film I have seen.
Yeah.
And it freaking nailed it perfectly on how it is.
Absolutely.
And speaking of talking about other forms of social media, we're going to jump into the next one, which is #FollowMe. And it is a British 2019 found footage horror film where 3 British women from London, consisting of a YouTuber and her 2 friends, go missing from a motel in California while traveling from LA to San Francisco after posting on social media using the hashtag #FollowMe.
Now, this movie has a lot of conflicting opinions. Not a lot of people like this film, and I can see why. The main ladies are kind of annoying, but they're supposed to be annoying. They're very vacant.
Yeah, very vacant, over the top party girls.
Yes.
Yes. And also the YouTube social media personality that's always at 100.
Yes. Constantly recording, constantly wanting to be in the limelight. But if we look at found footage of this, the found footage is actually really good.
Yeah.
Her video blog covers everything from them being in the airport, waiting to board the plane, to being on the plane, to getting a rental car, going to their Airbnb, hooking up with dudes that they bring back with them, except for the main girl because she has a fiance.
Yep.
So she doesn't.
She actually goes off while those two are fooling around with their boy toys, and she walks off just to like take a moment of silence and just chat with her followers.
Yeah.
Like you literally just see her talking to the screen.
She has a part where like how they meet these dudes are at the Hollywood Hills. They start talking to them and the camera's going kind of up and down. It kind of reminded me of Blair Witch Project, only the camera work was a lot better.
Yeah,
to be honest with you. And you see these girls talking to these dudes and getting associated with them, and like the awkwardness of everyone getting to know each other, and then eventually the girls banging these guys are hungover the next day. Their car breaks down on their drive. And you keep wondering when shit's going to happen. And I think that's probably why people don't like it. It's basically watching someone's vacation for the first, I would say, like hour. And then it really ramps up into the horror when they get to the motel room. And
yeah, but and actually I think it starts even before the hotel room when they're at the gas station and that guy is like yelling at them. And he's
that's pretty close to that. They're at the motel. You have 45 minutes of fun, good times at least before. Like there's little things that happen here or there.
She gets a note on her car while they're all partying and it says, "Watch how you drive" or something like that.
Yeah, something like that. It's little things happen. It's when they get to that motel that shit takes a real turn and the girls end up fighting. That finds out that the one girl slept with the other guy's ex-boyfriend.
Then one of them's pregnant.
Like it's it kind of goes all crazy. But what I really can appreciate is the fact that as a YouTuber, the main chick stayed true to her form and continued to record everything. Like you would record getting the Airbnb, getting the rental. You would record, meeting up with these dudes. You would record everything that was important that was going on in your life or that you felt was important, because that's your job. That's what you do. And that's what advertisers are paying for you to do. And you would wear clothes and stuff like that are brand ambassadors. It's hilarious. A couple times this summer I got asked to be a brand ambassador.
Oh, that's right. You did.
Which I didn't do any of that. I don't know. Maybe I will next year. But yeah, like it's you can make a lot of money on YouTube, and I think a lot of people fantasize about getting to that YouTuber rate where you can just do what this chick did, take a trip and make tons of money off it. And I believe they were going to a conference, like a YouTube conference.
Yeah, because she was going to meet her fans.
And there's even a part where she meets a fan and she has a picture with her and like another young person. Yeah,
and you see she's all excited like when she recognizes her and stuff like that. And my opinion on this like changed dramatically because I watched this just as a random first time watch a couple months back, and I told you I couldn't stand it. Like I was just
you didn't like the characters.
The characters were so annoying that I just hated it. And then I watched a few more movies with social media personality types, and I'm going, oh, maybe I should go back and rewatch this and give it a second chance now that I understand that's just these type of characters. And going back, I'm kind of glad I did because I enjoyed this movie more. Yes, it's still slow with not a lot going on for the horror till the end, but you start picking up on little things like her friend, like when they're out at Hollywood Hills, her friend's like searching the car and she's like, "What are you searching for?" "I can't find my phone."
Yeah.
And that ends up being a theme throughout the rest of the movie, and like that I never really thought of the first time.
And that's like me every bar night. Where's my phone? I actually lost my phone at the bar once.
That doesn't surprise me.
Yes. I tried to do this shocked, offended look, but who are we fucking kidding? So, that was when I just went through my divorce. I was freshly divorced and making even less good choices. Now I make much more good choices. I always have a phone. I take a cab, not an Uber, and we'll get into that why in the next.
Yes, we will.
By myself, anyway. I'll take Ubers with groups of people, but not alone.
Which is wise.
Which is, I think so. But yeah, I think it's a decent film. Like I get why people don't like it, but if we look at someone that's living the YouTuber life, it represents it well.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Like I thought I covered it very well. But yeah, we can move into the next one, which is Spree from 2020. And it is a American black comedy horror film directed by Eugene Yarenko. The Gonzo-style satire follows a social media-obsessed ride-hail driver, Uber, played by Joe Keery. The film also stars Sashir Zamata, David Arquette, Kyle Mooney, and Misha Barton. It was executive produced by Drake. I did not know that. Wow.
I know way too many people here last year from this year that I didn't know last year. Who the hell y'all? You know that song by Drake?
Nope.
Oh, it's because you're not from Toronto.
I'll say I just know Drake. I don't know if I actually know any of his songs, or if I did, I just wouldn't know it until I heard it.
You used to call me on my cell phone. No.
Nope.
No.
Doesn't ring a bell.
Wow, you are so boring. Stop listening to fucking Blind Guardian. That's all you listen to.
No, it doesn't.
Did you just say I hate you?
No, I said, God damn it.
I thought you said I hate you. I'm like, it's valid.
No, I love you. I love you so much that I just continue to annoy you every day.
I know, every day. Literally, guys, since November 21st. You wonder why I drink. Like, oh, Scott. What? Scott, stop talking about horror, Scott.
Oh, sorry. Well, we might as well end the podcast now then.
That's an inside joke, everyone, that Scott and I have. I'm sorry that I keep throwing it in. And I really wish you were more excited for Christmas. Anyway, continue. It's free.
Oh, so...
You're going to dress up a pumpkin like a Christmas tree?
Damn straight I am. You're going to have a pumpkin star on top.
Can you imagine? Pumpkin star. Like pumpkin latte?
Yeah.
I do like the Christmas drinks from Starbucks, though.
Too much peppermint.
Fuck you, Scott.
Like now, hot chocolate flavored? Sure.
Shut up. No one cares what you like.
Yeah, I know. No one does.
No, that's not true. Everyone cares about you. You're super popular. You get memes made about you.
Well, that's because I say the stupid shit.
No, it's because you're funny. You're the brains, the body, and the comedy of the show. I'm just a chick that looks like a slut and goes out to the fucking bars to party it up. Sprees, you know what? Hashtag follow me is actually Amanda, Amber, and Ann and I should do a fucking video. Follow me too, and it will just be me going out to Absinthe for the night in Hamburger and doing tequila shots.
Oh boy. You wouldn't regret that video at all.
No, I'm sure I would never regret that. I'm sure, as we talked about presence on social media. Anyway, I'll let you finish the synopsis of this.
All right, so the synopsis is a young man named Kurt Kunke is obsessed with being a social media star and going viral. A child he used to babysit, Bobby, is now an internet star who frequently makes live streams and has high viewer numbers, making Kurt jealous. Kurt works as a driver for a rideshare app called Spree, then fits out his car with cameras and begins a new live stream one day titled The Lesson, where he instructs viewers on how to get famous on social media.
Yeah.
Oh boy. This is one of those films, once again, where you got this annoying wannabe YouTube star, like being over the top, crazy, obsessed with his numbers, obsessed with promoting. And what is that creepy smile you're giving?
I'm just trying to distract you.
Yeah, I'm staring right at it too, and I'm just like talking to you, just like staring at your creepy smile. I'm like, you're waiting to say something. That's what I thought.
Like, it's getting late in the episode. I start to act out.
Yes, you do.
Anyway,
start having your.
Start getting antsy. I start being like, "Oh man, Scott, I need to go drinking. Why am I taking so long?" The nachos ain't gonna eat themselves.
Oh, anyway. I want nachos now.
No nachos for Scott.
But anyways, yeah. So he's like the synopsis says, he sets up the cameras all in his car, and the lesson is basically how to become popular. And his way of becoming popular is by doing the most craziest thing he can think of, which is going on a murder spree, murdering his victims, and live streaming it.
And it's pretty fucking funny. Like, he does, this guy, man, I just thought he was a one-trick pony from Stranger Things. He is not a one-trick pony. He's fucking jokes in this movie. Like,
oh, he's funny. Like, when he picks up the comedian,
the white supremacist.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He picks up the white supremacist, but then he picks up the black woman comedian.
Oh, yes.
And he's like, she's doing her, Snapchat talk or whatever, and he's like, she pans over to camera and he starts screaming out, "Subscribe to my YouTube channel!" Blah 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 blah.
Oh my god, it's too funny, right? Because he's trying to get these followers, and I think this movie really capitalizes on how people want to be famous, right? They want to be famous online, and they want to have that popularity. And it's Sheer Samata, who plays Jessie Adams. And I think she's great in this film. And I also appreciate the strong black female lead that she is.
Yeah.
I think that this movie really gave her a chance to be empowered as a black woman. And her comedy was delivered very much from her view as a black woman. In the car for all women, when she talked about the smile thing.
Yes.
It'd be prettier if you smiled. Her showing of her connection with her family, and then the showdown between her and Kirk at the end. Like, this is a really great example of black empowerment in cinema, in my opinion, as a white person. Obviously, I'm not black. Maybe someone who's black feels differently. I just felt like it was obviously some social justice stuff in there, and it was done really well. It's not down your throat at all. Like, it's just, you're cheering for this chick, not just because she's black, but she says some stuff that's really empowering too, for women as well.
Yes, she does.
Right.
Like, and she is like a character that you absolutely feel for, going through everything that happens in this movie.
Well, and she's smart enough to not get into the Spree. So Spree is a ride share program. So unlike Uber, you can pick up multiple riders.
Yeah.
And he's poisoning the water, which is really interesting. So he picks up that white supremacist. He's like, "Yeah, I'm going to this rally, and you should be proud that you're white." like fucking kills him so you don't feel bad. And then that really bitchy real estate agent picks up her.
Like it shows literally the because this is in LA.
Yes.
And it shows that very snooty, self-absorbed type that he's picking up. Like they get in the car and he's trying to communicate with them and they're just completely ignoring him and talking on the phone and like just completely rude to him. And you don't feel bad for what he for him poisoning these characters.
No.
And like you were saying, it's funny like the way he is, like he's like so obsessed, but that's where it gets funny and sad because he's so obsessed with wanting to be popular,
wanting to beat Bobby, wanting to beat this kid that has way more likes than him. And like there's Misha Barton's name is London, and like her and the guy, who is it Frankie? Oh my gosh, I'm trying to find out who it is. Lala Kent is Kendra. Like there's just some characters that they pick up, like that London and like the other people are just so over the top, like elitist, right? Like, and it's just, and how he kills them, going through the, like he has them outside the sunroof drinking the champagne, driving around the dumpster area, what's it called, landfill, and it's like basically decapitates them. Like, oh my god, it was just like over the fucking top shit, right? And like, though he doesn't get the comedian to take the water when she leaves the car. I always thought that was interesting, right? I thought maybe he was going to spare her.
Yeah, because I think what it was is he was thinking, all right, when I'm done doing all this, I want to come back for her and try to pick her up again.
I just think he thought that if she died outside, someone would see it, right?
That too, because
he would get caught, right? So I think it was more that. I don't think he was planning on coming back to her. I think he only did because he saw her online.
That could be too, and he realized like if he did something with her, his numbers would skyrocket.
Right. So, and then like the DJ, when they go to the club and he's with like his dad, David Arquette, and that chick is like, yeah, I'll do this for you if you like, you know, buy me drinks or something like that. And then, I'll shout you out as like, she's some fucking famous DJ. Like, it was just so full of like vacant people and like this like fucking like life that it was so good.
Though it does get kind of dark, like when it gets to that third act.
It does get really dark. He gets really dark.
And it gets kind of, you start feeling bad
killing
for
Bobby
him.
is pretty fucked up, right? Like, even though Bobby was a brat and like he was really fucking mean to Kurt, you know, you didn't really want to see Bobby die. And you see Bobby die pretty violently. Like,
and he's and he steals Bobby's phone and like has now all of Bobby's followers.
Yeah, because he steals Bobby's account and has all of Bobby's followers as he's doing all this fucked up shit. And like, it's really smart. You know, it really truly is. It's a really smart movie. As it gets towards the end and the standoff, and she basically he gets her to kill him and films it. Right. So he'll be famous even in death. And it really does talk to our society's need for attention and loneliness. That can be provided through social media, the idea of ride shares. You know, when I went out on Friday night, even though I was with somebody, we still took a cab home. We were really drunk, so that was probably the thought. I would take an Uber. The person I was with was more comfortable with cabs, so we did a cab. But if I'm by myself, I only do cabs.
Because that's a professional that is got a company behind it. It's a lot,
and it's tracked, right?
Yeah, it's vented and they're vetted and already been background checked.
Right, and it's cheaper now, like actually than Uber. I have both apps on my phone, and because if I order through the cab app, they take an additional 20% off my fare.
Oh, nice.
So it ends up being cheaper than an Uber anyway, because Ubers have surge pricing depending on the time of day that you order them and what's going on. So it's, you know, I do use Uber Eats though.
Yep, same here.
To deliver my food.
But that's a completely different thing.
Yeah, it's food being dropped off, right? But yeah, I don't know. I just feel like Spree is like that leap into 2020. Like, I feel like each of these movies kind of built on social media, and Spree was like, I'm here, bitches. Like, welcome to Spree, right? And I just feel like it incorporated YouTube with the feeling of isolation, with ride shares. Like, I just feel like it hit up everything really well, and it did it well. And he talks about even... Sorry, go ahead.
It's like, because it's a movie for the times, because like the ride shares, the YouTube sensation, the obsession with your YouTube sensations. The obsession with the numbers.
Yes.
It
Having
covers
cameras
it all.
all over the cab, like that, and the reasoning why he does that, right? Like,
Yeah.
he gives different people different reasons as to why, and like, it's just really well done. And he's a good little actor, man. Like, I look forward to seeing him in more stuff.
Yeah, same here. I don't want him to be stuck being the stereotyped as Steve from Stranger
Yeah,
Things. Rest of
and
the
I
time.
like Stranger Things, but like, the dude is better than Stranger Things,
Yeah, exactly.
right?
You can find better stuff.
And go Drake. So glad that you threw money into this, Drake. You and your $1 million Canadian bird money. You know, it was God's plan. God's plan. I guess you don't know that song either.
No, I would probably have to hear it with the beat, and then because like lyrics wise, I probably don't know it.
Because you only listen to Blind Guardian.
Mm,
What else do you listen to?
I hate you.
What else do you listen to?
Let's see, Dead South, Sonata Arctica, Ice Cube.
You don't listen to Ice Cube, you
yes,
fucking liar.
I do
when
too.
was the last time you listened to Ice Cube?
Let's see. Last week I listened to Today Was a Good Day, and then
such a great song.
on Tuesday I listened to Rest the President.
Oh yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that makes sense.
Because he was talking about Trump.
No, that's fitting.
But
I know
even
you
though
like Ice
apparently
Cube.
he's a Trump supporter now, so who knows? It's weird.
He's a Trump supporter now?
Or something along those lines. I'm reading that he's like all about like supporting like Trump's policies.
Oh. Ice Cube, what happened?
Yeah, what happened to fuck the police?
Yeah, Ice Cube. Shit. Now I'm curious. He's 51. Wow. That movie Straight Outta Compton. Not a horror film, but that's a good movie.
I still need to see that. That's actually one that I've been wanting to see, and I just haven't.
Yeah, you'd like it a lot. Easy and like I don't know that much about rap. I pretend like I do, but I don't.
I know a decent amount at least about Eazy-E because I used to be a big Eazy-E fan.
You would enjoy Straight Outta Compton. It's good. It's a good series, good movie. But yeah, I feel like I can't imagine where we're gonna go from social media after Spree. Like Spree is just a fucking roller coaster. Definitely recommend watching it out. It's a good 2020 film. Definitely will grace some people's top 10s, top 20s maybe. Watch it.
Yep, high recommend.
Ha.
Cause I got high.
Cause I got
so high.
Cause I got high.
I'm gonna clean my room, but then I got high. Ooh.
We won't sing the other parts. Well, it gets really graphic. It's funny though. I don't know. I find that song funny, though not as funny as the song I shared with you. What was it? The one of I don't fuck with you. Remember that one?
Oh, yeah, I don't fuck with you.
We won't go into all the lyrics because they get pretty nasty, but I always find that song really funny. Anyway, so I guess we'll move into our Out of the Dark segment. Are you ready?
Yeah, I am.
I wasn't sure if you were pausing there. I'm trying to read exactly what I wrote. Last time I talked to you, I told you to share this dog, the blow up dog Christmas that I had. So I bought this dog that has a scarf and a hat, and it's really cute. And I think you should get one to add to your Christmas spirit.
Nope, it's got to be a blow up cat. And you got to stop trying to convince me to get a blow up doll, Heather. I already have one. I know you want a blow up doll for decorations, and that's very weird. Most people kind of don't want blow up dolls out.
It's a dog. I think you just have an unhealthy obsession with my dog. Look at you're a creeper. I'm trying to see. We talked online about the Out of the Dark session. I think we were talking about where do we see social media movies going from here? Found footage, right? What's missing? There hasn't been much with Instagram yet. I wonder what you could do with the gram.
You know, you are right, because that is kind of what I was thinking. Like, what could be possibly done? Because I mean, there's the stories on Instagram, there's the photos.
Like, you could do the typical somebody getting obsessed with someone else on Instagram. I know I've gotten a couple of offers to be a sugar baby on Instagram.
Well, I got offered to be someone's a big furry bear or sexy bear.
But no one's offered to give you allowances for your service.
No, that's why I need to do an OnlyFans.
I actually had some dude tell me he would pay me an allowance.
I remember you shared that with me.
And I remember thinking, like, first of all, that's very flattering, but I'm old. I'm not really a sugar baby, more like a sugar toddler. More like you're going to be spending a lot of money on my ass. You're going to be giving mortgage payments. Like, fucking Kate Spade ain't gonna cut it. But like, you know, I wonder what you could do, and I'm not sure if that, you know, trend with Instagram of like, oh, the stalker is overdone. Like, what if there was a ghost account of Instagram and you followed it and you saw these horrific things happen on Instagram and then it happened in real life?
Yeah.
So you saw someone get run over by a truck, and then you walk outside and one of your friends gets hit by a truck. Same thing that you saw on Instagram. And every time there's a new video, you know that whatever happens is going to happen around you.
Yeah, so kind of like a
because
final
you're following
destination,
this account.
Almost like a final destination of Instagram.
Yeah.
That'd be kind of cool.
Because you can't unfollow the account, so you try to unfollow it and it won't let you, and you're stuck with waiting for every time something posts and being afraid what's going to happen, and then you're trying to break the chain, and you realize that, you know, maybe this goes back to people not being safe with watching, but then when it happens to them, wanting to remove and they can't. It's fine when it was happening to somebody else, but now that it's happening to me, I can't handle it.
Yeah. I like that.
That's actually a really good idea. Man, I'm just like, what am I doing here in Waterdown, Ontario, Canada?
Yeah, what are you doing with my little lowlife ass? Get yourself out there. Get yourself out there. Get known.
Get some movies made, right? But I think that would be a way to incorporate Instagram, and make it like not the typical stalking thing, something else.
Yeah, I like that idea. One I had, like, this feels like it's overplayed to death, but just because we always joke about smoke shows OnlyFans.
Mm-hmm.
Since OnlyFans has become such a popular thing now, like the possibility of like the creepy stalkers that fall in love with a person from those types of videos. But like I said, that's been overdone a million times.
But you know what? It hasn't been done. It's always guy on girl. What about girl on girl or guy on guy?
Yeah.
Like, what about a dude that's gay who does, or straight, whatever, does an OnlyFans, and then some dude gets obsessed?
Yeah. Like, that could be really interesting, like, to do that way. Like, and then I was also thinking,
and you know what? You make it a guy that's married, and then he's just doing it for money, and now he has this other person stalking him. You know, you do the classic scene where the guy comes home and his partner, whoever it may be, is like, oh, your old friend from college stopped by for dinner, right? Like, and just do creepy shit like that. That would be pretty cool.
Yeah, I'd like to see something like that. That's a very interesting way of doing it. And there's also this one I was going to say, but apparently Sick House already kind of took that. I looked into Sick House, that movie that was mentioned above in your information.
Yeah.
But I was thinking, like, create a movie with just Snapchat, and like, yeah, because there's not been a lot of Snapchat, but like you could use a lot of the filters and just like add them throughout it. Like, part of that was used a bit in Come Play with the filters.
Yes, it was.
But yeah, I was thinking, oh yeah, like maybe someone could make a movie with just like the Snapchat stories, and well, apparently that's exactly what Sick House was a fake documentary about a horror film, but done in the Snapchat stories.
That's really interesting. Yeah. So I think there's still definitely more to be done in social media. There's more social media apps that are opening all the time.
I got a great idea now.
What?
The next Purge movie. It's going to be found footage social media based, following the lunatics on Parler. Because, you know, the Purge has gotten shut down, so now everyone moved to the Parler app to kind of start their own Purge.
I always found, like, I think the Parler app is really funny. I think it's really funny that, like, people feel this need to be able to get together and be racist and
not be fact checked.
Share conspiracy theories that aren't fact checked. Like, I find that so funny. Like, you know, I could go on there and be like, unicorns flew down my street last week, and they'd be like, ah, it's your right to say that. Like, I find it really funny.
Oh, it's ridiculous.
I find, and you know what, I think social media, bottom line, isn't going anywhere.
No, and it's just going to get more and more.
And it would be nice to use it in a way that's also productive. Like, but what a boring horror movie that would be. I made a friend over social media and everything went well.
Right.
Now we're friends. It's great. Right. And I feel like there's
actually, this could be you like what you just said kind of gave me an idea. Making a friend over social media that you've never met in person.
Mhm.
Show their interactions with each other, like their communication with each other. You can see them building a good friendship. You can tell they're good friends. And then one of them decides like they're from another country or something. And one of them decides
I know where you're going with this. You're such a nerd.
no, but one of them decides they are going to come over and visit. And along the travels, that person gets kidnapped or killed and someone else takes his place and comes and pretends to be him.
Oh, like The Visit.
Like
only the grandparents, like with the changing of the character. I thought you were talking about When I Came to See You. I'm like,
no. I was kind of mixing it with the Visit and The Guest.
Oh, okay, yes.
But like showing some like, I mean, obviously like there is a chance of like video chat and stuff like that, so that could be kind of iffy. But there's still, there could be many ways that could be portrayed where you're just like, it's not the dangers of social media per se, because you're showing you're building of the friendship. It's the dangers of other people out there.
Well, I remember when I went to see you, right? Like let's be real. Scott and I met online. We had talked a couple of times over the phone in person, and I decided to go see him. So I did let people know where I was going, and I felt pretty safe in it because he's an hour outside the border. But like, I feel like people would criticize that decision, and I don't feel bad making that decision at all. Like, to be honest, I plan on going to visit Brandon Orlick one day too. And like, I feel like with both of you, I don't know, like just because you meet someone online doesn't mean they're a bad person. I've met tons of bad people face to face.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, I don't know. I think sometimes we just label like online as bad, and you're not going to be able to have friendships and stuff. And I don't know if I necessarily agree with that. I think you definitely need to be cautious. And I never got any creepy vibes from Scott ever.
No. I got some from you, but no.
Fair, right? But like, I think of like that risk I took, especially as being a female.
Yeah, going to another country by yourself.
But it was only an hour across the border.
Still.
Right? Not even. Well, an hour, yeah. And, I made it clear where I was. You gave me your address, like your phone number. I had talked to you, like, and I shared that information. People knew where I was. Like, really, like, let's say you had chosen to hurt me in some shape or form. Everyone had all your fucking contact information.
Right.
Like, it's not like you were going to do something to me. Like, not that you would. I'm just speaking hypothetically, of course, right?
Right.
I had all your shit. Like, I would have easily been able to, like, go back to Canada and fucking charge you.
Right, exactly.
Or if I never came back, people would be like, oh, she went to see this dude and she left all this contact information.
Yeah. You would have been completely covered. You
know what I mean? Yeah. Like, really, you were at more risk because I was coming to you.
Right, because I mean, like, if you were like the threat, what would I have done? You would have been at my home. No one would believe it. I mean,
and especially being a woman.
Yeah.
Like, add that on top of being a woman, right? Like, it's like what we saw in like another movie you watched earlier this year, where the girl stalks the guy.
Yeah.
And no one believes them, right? Like, it's the same idea.
Yeah, it's absolutely the same idea. Like, right? It could easily happen.
Yeah, and I didn't think twice about it.
Yeah, but I didn't think twice about it with you either. I was like with the way we chatted, like I was just like, yeah, I can trust you 100%. Like, I would be happy to have you stay the night at my place and like hang out for the weekend.
And and there is a handful of people that I would go visit by myself. I wouldn't go visit everyone, not just because I think people are creepy, because you need to be able to have a lasting conversation with people and be comfortable enough with them for an extended period of time, right?
Right.
Yeah, it's just really interesting that, we kind of spend our time being like, oh, if you meet someone online, there's, this and that. But I would argue that you run the same face. Like, I meet some dude at a bar. What makes me know that he's any fucking better?
Right.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's just interesting how we look at stuff like that. Or I'm on vacation in Mexico and I meet some guy.
Yeah, that's probably more dangerous than anything.
You know what I mean? Like, I think it's just interesting. It's funny.
Yeah. I was saying, it's just like, it does show like the dangers of like how like the dangers are about the same as in person.
I think they are. I really do. And of course, like, you're going to always hear horror stories, but then, look at Dan and Lacey. They met online and they're a couple now. Like, there's other people that have met up. You and Adam met online, and you guys hang out, right?
Yeah, like you and I, and like we are, like, you are one of my best friends.
Yeah. Like, I don't know. I think that you have to kind of use caution and of course, like, look at risks and stuff. But, like, I went over to Christian's house and hung out with Christian. Now, mind you, that's just in Burlington, Ontario, which is right beside me, but still.
Right,
like,
you went to his house, though.
And he had me at his house.
Yeah.
Right? Like, not the... I'm so intimidating. Yeah, I'm sure Christian's going to listen to this and be like, ooh, I was so scared.
Well, I mean, you can be intimidated.
That's true.
You scare me.
It's true.
But I get excited when you scare me.
But, like, it's just, I don't know. I just think it's a really interesting concept. Honestly, there's, like, I think about Android, I think about Venom, I think about Nudie. I would think twice about going to stay at their house.
Right.
Like, I feel like I know all three of them so well, I would be 100% fine. Android at his house, I would just have to eat a lot of green chilies. That would be
right.
Thing that would be tough. But I would never, ever even be concerned around them. Ever.
Right.
Like, ever would that even come to my head. And I think that's just over a year of working with them. You just develop a relationship.
Yeah, that is 100% true. Like, right? I mean, hell, and you and I developed the relationship before we even started working with each other.
Yeah, that's true.
Like,
we
didn't even start our podcast till the second time you came and visited me.
Well, we had talked about it when I first came down.
Yeah, because like that's how we came up with the idea of the Friday Nightmares. Is we went out and had coffee and discussed the whole thing, but like we weren't planning on recording till like the second time you came to visit.
It's true. And then now look at us. We'll never visit each other again because, your country can't wear fucking masks. So...
Right, and it's fucking pissing me off beyond belief. Because
damn
it, I want to cross that border so I can go party with you at Absinthe.
Yeah, I know. And like, I don't know if I'm like February. I'm not so sure about that anymore. I feel like I look back on our shows and I'm like, yeah, when we get together in November. Yeah. When we get together in February, I'm like, I need to stop saying these shit because these months come and go. And like,
nothing has happened.
Nothing's happened, right? Like, it will definitely be over a year before we will hang out again. I have no doubt in my mind.
I know, and that fucking sucks because what was it? February
like
9th?
8th or 9th? Because I have the tag from Astronomicon.
Yep. And you stayed one more night after Astronomicon was done.
Yes, and yeah. Like, honestly, like, we'll be lucky if you come up here in February.
Yeah.
Like, the way we're going right now, mid-November, both of our areas have numbers going up. There's no vaccine available yet. I don't see it.
Everything is in the air again. And,
right.
And bringing up, hey, we're meeting in November. Next Friday was when we were going to be hanging out again to go to Days of the Dead.
Yeah. But I kind of already forgave and let go of Days of the Dead.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, I was like, yeah. Is that even happening? Should it even be happening? You know what I mean?
It's been canceled.
Like, and it should have been, in all fairness, like, with all the shit that's going on. Yeah, I hope that I see you sometime in 2021, Scott. Like, now I'm just
Motor City Nightmares, baby.
I'm like, hopefully by December 2021.
Yeah, God. We never would have thought this when we met in person and we're like, last time we'd see each other like in February and be like, all right, see you in a year.
Well, I think really, the shocking part of it really is that our borders are so easy to cross. Like, leading up to this.
Yeah.
As much as I don't love crossing the border, it's really not that big of a deal. You show your passport or your enhanced license, you cross. You don't have like, obviously our officials have guns and stuff, but they don't have guns pointed at you when you come up to the border. Like, it's a pretty low security border. But like, never in a million years would I had ever pictured a border closure and never in history has it lasted this long. Now, mind you, you can still fly into the States.
Right.
But I have to quarantine when I come home.
Yeah, and that's only if you are lucky enough to live in a state that you can fly to. Because Michigan, I cannot fly to you.
No, there's no flights between Detroit and Toronto. It's too close of a distance.
Yeah.
So
like our borders are just like, the border shut down for us really just shut us out.
Yeah, it really did. And, I understand why. I do. I 100% get it. It is what it is. It's just really interesting how we're in this situation where, really a month ago we were like, oh yeah, for sure, February for sure. And now it's like, well. But I think once we get a vaccine and, things are moving along, hopefully 2021. And really, you don't want to come up here until absence is back being like right now it's table service only. And that's fine.
Right.
But we want to go when it's hopping. We want to go when the party is ripe and we can hook you up with some ladies. That's
Hell yeah.
Right. So, that's going to be when it's mint. So yeah, we'll see what happens, but everyone just keep doing what you should be doing, and like, let's love each other.
Yep. And let's all, social media, everyone just get together, like, and message their friends. And, this is how you build friendships now too. Like, we have built many friends over the last year and a half just through social media.
Yeah. I know a lot of Americans now, so I get to brag. I'll be like, well, my American friend. Right.
Right. And I can be like, my Canadian and my Australian buddies.
That's true. Oh, Tim Davis and Daniel. And they're fluffy bum bums. I know. Love them, even though they don't read my review on their show. And we read it on our Facebook Live though, Heather. Not the same thing, Tim. Not the same thing.
You've just been called out, Tim.
I know. I haven't seen them do any episodes though recently.
No, I'm wondering
Sam
if they
on vacation?
Yeah, Sam. Well, I think they said they were gonna take a little brief break.
Oh, did they? Oh wow.
I think so.
Must be fighting some sharks somewhere or something.
Yeah, Tim's probably punching a kangaroo and punching a shark. And
he's like, fucking seagulls steal my ice cream. Man, so sorry. Our next episode will be on the mockumentaries.
Yes.
Found footage. So we'll be cleaning or finishing off this found footage set. Then we will be doing a Christmas show.
Because Christmas and horror go together.
That's right. And then finally, we will be doing top, I don't know, 10, 20. I don't know what the fuck we're going to do.
Yeah, we'll just kind of have this discussion online here, but I was thinking a top 10 of 2020 and a top 10 of our older films on what has impressed us.
That's actually a really good idea.
And that way we can just talk about some older things that we may not have talked about much on our show.
Look at you, huh?
Thinking outside the box.
Finally, you're becoming the brains.
Don't worry though; those will get sloshed around, and they'll probably pour out the side of my head at some point like a leaky faucet.
I'm a little teapot, short and stout.
Dump my head and pour them out.
But yeah, that's exciting. 3 more episodes, and that will finish us off at 24 episodes this year.
Yeah, and then right after that would be our 1-year anniversary with our show after our year end.
Yeah.
Somehow we've made it. And
I'm not getting you a present. Don't even ask for one.
I'm sending you a dick pic.
Don't. I already had 15 of yours. It's fine. I get it. I know what your dick looks like. Fuck's sake.
But what if I put a...
There's not that many angles, Scott. Like, I get it.
I'm getting creative though, because now I'm going to put it in a little cage, like it's a little animal, or I could give it a little top hat with a little suit.
Imagine you're like, do you want to let loose the monster, Heather?
Breaking out of the cage.
Despite my rage, I'm still just a rat in the cage.
Despite all my rage, I'm still smoke shows dawning in a cage.
Oh my god! Sounds like something that chick would have seen in the den.
Right.
That's my life talking to Scott and his dick pics.
Every anniversary she gets a new dick pic from me.
I'm like, yay, Scott, I know what your dick looks like. Really? So big. Yes.
9 inches
have a wonderful
around.
Dick, Scott. It's great. I love all the dicks. I don't get why guys send dick pics. It doesn't really do anything.
No, it doesn't.
Look at it and go, oh yeah. Like if they sent nachos, I'd be like, yeah.
Ooh, how about this?
Sangria.
How about a dick on a platter of nachos?
Oh, with like queso and shit on it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Put a little bit of salsa on there, make it burn a little.
Oh my! Oh dear! Oh dear! Like,
all right, we're going too far.
The dick is fine, but I need the dick to be doing something. Like, if it's just sitting there, if I can't touch it or taste it or use it, I don't
use it as chapstick.
No, Scott. Maybe that's what your girlfriend does, but that's not actually
my
how
girlfriend
it's
is my hand.
You're like. She's like, just a bit, Scott, and like does her lips with it. Oh my God, what is wrong with us? Welcome to our fans only podcast that Scott and I are now doing.
We have gone off the rails. I think it's time for us to sign.
Right, that's true. We're all excited that we only have 3 more episodes left. We're gonna make it to 24.
You're excited. Feel these nipples.
No.
Come on.
There's a border, Scott. There's a closed border, and it's your fault because you won't wear a mask. Scott's
wear a mask all the time. Don't you put that shit on me.
He's an anti-masker.
Oh, fuck off, you Canadian.
Here you thought you were gonna get hate from Blair Witch. Now it's gonna be even worse.
There's something that I am against as it is.
You're against wearing masks. Yes, we know, Scott. Just kidding, everyone. Scott is not an anti-masker.
Well, if they're friends with me, they see I wear a mask everywhere. When
he may be an anti-Heather by the end of this podcast, but he's definitely not an anti-masker.
I'm begrudgingly finishing off this year for our show.
Our top.
Then we will have to renegotiate on how we're going to do this.
I can't wait till we do our top 10 and everyone disagrees with it. They're like, those aren't good movies. And we're all like, fuck you.
We'll be like, we don't give a shit. Our top 10 bitches.
We'll play the Party Up song by DMX.
Y'all gonna make me lose my mind.
Up in here, up in here. All right, I guess we drag this cat out long enough, so we'll put it.
Sounds like my sex life.
Yeah. So we look forward to you next time. We look forward to you.
We look forward to you.
We look forward to next time when we're going to talk about our mockumentary found footage. But until then, take care and unpleasant dreams. You got anything to say, Scotty?
See you on social media.
He's a creepy dude with the beer that likes craft beer and feels that that's part of a personality trait.
It is a personality trait.
And we're out.